You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. You've spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more. And now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility. Have you seen that before in a gift shop?
Teach me.
No.
Hey, hey, Grand Rising. It's your boy FMX. It's been a while. We haven't done an early light in a few with the Melodome crew, of course. So we wanted to do something a little special, some even earlier than the usual time. So I hope you're feeling good. Hope you got your coffee. I know a lot of y'all probably listening to this, not in the future, not even awake yet. But I appreciate all of y'all who's joining us now. A bunch of early birds like me. But let's go ahead and get my boys up in here. Austin from the Melodome himself, the chief captain, and Mr. Trublin. How you doing, gentlemen? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm always an early bird. I'm usually up about 5 a.m. on the East Coast. So, yeah, it's good, man. I'm just looking forward to the show. Me and you, we talked about it. You want to
Oh
get an
yeah,
early one in. That way, not enough hours in the day. That's really what it is. That's all it's about. Happy to be here.
definitely, definitely what it comes down to. Hey, Skylar brother, thanks for joining, man. How you doing this morning?
Doing fantastic, man. Early rise, right? Got the shirt button all the way up so that you know we mean business. And by the way, that intro is super duper sick. I think it's a great metaphor for life in general. One day you're just walking along, minding your own business, and then bam, you go through whatever the hell that just was, just to get thrown out, to on your own devices, right? Have
Yep,
fun, do
yep.
with what you will.
Now that you know, what are you gonna do with it, basically? No one holds your hand through this journey. Unfortunately, got to
I was like,
figure it out for yourself,
how in the hell did they get footage of my, lucid dream? That's crazy.
right? So shout out to the Twitch, the YouTube, and the Rockfin family. Miss Pamela, I see you over there. Good to see you, sister. Mr. Sidewinder, Stephanie. Who else am I missing up here? Melodome, of course, you're in here with me, and all those who hasn't said hi in the chat yet. Good morning, Grand Rising,
Mark is
top of
here.
the day. Oh, I miss Mark. Hey, Mr. Mark, good to see you, brother.
Mrs.
Oh yeah,
Trivia,
there he is.
Mr. Super Sidewinder, Sander, Stephanie. Yeah. You know what? I just want to share a little bit because me and you, we have a few phone calls a week, right?
Oh yeah,
And we did stop doing the morning show over on the Melodome, which was always a good time. My schedule changed due to work, things like that. And you're like, man, because with your work, you come home and sometimes you feel kind of like obligated to do a stream. You're like, I don't know, and we're talking about there's not enough hours in the day. Well, we're always up super early anyways. That's where the idea of the power hour came in. So we decided to just throw a power hour. First hour of the day, you're up, you set the tone for the rest of the day, you know.
correct.
Start off on the right foot. And we always have great conversations, the three of us. So I'm looking forward to this one.
During our conversations, especially lately, um, as we keep going over on the FMX radio show, is choosing our words wisely, and we're always checking each other, even off camera. We're always checking each other, trying not to speak into existence in which we would not like to experience. So even when times are going hard and things can be frustrating, and those intrusive thoughts come out of nowhere, which they do on a daily, multiple times a day, it's good, just to kind of check yourself and help your homeboys out and let them help you out. And it's not taking it any type of way other than just kind of steel sharpening steel, like that's all it's about. Continuous help, self growth and improvement, and in getting with a bunch of like-minded individuals who are on that same type of metaphysical and healing journeys to attract bigger and better thoughts every single day, every single week. And today, we like to get kind of sci-fi with it too, though, when we doing the self-improvement, you know what I'm saying? And we like to talk about the AI a lot because it's getting real freaky out here, people. It's getting real freaky, not just with the deep fakes and whatnot, the things you're familiar with, but with it translating over to the entertainment realm, and such as like these new video games coming out, who's going to have these
Oh, yeah.
integrated AI systems
like
integrated
Grand
inside
Theft
the game.
Auto, right? But the NPCs have all this AI programs built into them. So as they're navigating the world, they're not repeating the same steps over and over. They don't have the same three catchphrases. There, you can have conversations with any NPC out on the floor. You want me to bring it up?
Yeah, you want to get right into it? You want to get right into
I
that?
just start watching. I think it's
Yeah, we can show you better than we can tell you. So we're gonna go ahead and give you your own little taste of what we've been finding, traces of things to come. It's already here, but on the scale, it's going to be, let's say, in 5 years, especially 10. We're not going to be viewing our reality the same anymore.
yeah. This is them using the Unreal Engine 5, and it's pretty trippy. So this guy's walking around and he's telling all these NPCs that they actually live in a simulation, and they all have different reactions.
Back to Unreal Engine 5. We are back here in New York City, and today we are going to be attempting to convince smart NPCs that they're living in a simulation. Got our first subject here in the gray suit. Hey, I don't mean to alarm you, but this is not real.
I'm sorry. Who's that?
You are not living in a real world. This is all made up.
What do you mean? Not real. I feel alive, and this city is amazing.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, the graphics are great, but this is a video game.
I don't believe you. This feels too real to be a game. Do you ever wonder if pigeons think we're the weird ones?
Excuse me, what? Wait, how do you know that pigeons exist?
Of course pigeons exist. They're all over the city, just like us.
Oh, bro, what? He took this in the left field. You are just lines of code in a video game.
I am not just lines of code. I am Liam, a real person enjoying this city.
He has a name.
What's today's date, Liam? What is today's date?
Today's date. It's a beautiful day in May. My friend. Let's enjoy it.
Liam, today is July 18th, 2023.
Oh, I must have lost track of time. Hey, let's keep exploring this amazing city.
Okay, so he's clearly not the sharpest tool in the shed there. I'm not gonna lie, the pigeon comment kind of threw me off though. Let's
Reminds
talk
me of
to
conversations
this
I've had with
girl.
Globies.
Hey, what's your name?
Say that again.
It reminds me of conversations I've had with Globies.
You know, for the most part, a lot of these, there's other videos. Most of these NPCs are decent people. You know, I would say better than most NPCs in the real world. You know,
They have such a positive outlook.
Well, that's because they haven't had as many resets as we've had to become the assholes that we have.
It's because in their world, they probably don't have a ridiculously tyrannical government trying to enslave them.
That guy had a name. He said his name was Liam. You know, I've heard people argue about, you know, this is just really getting meta. This is within.
It would be interesting if he tried to like prove out the guy's family. I'm like, all right, Liam, do you have a family?
Yeah,
All
right.
Let's go meet your family, and then
He's
because they're
gonna
not
be
going to be there, right?
I'm adopted. I don't know my family.
Wow.
He didn't know what day it was.
I must have lost track of time.
I mean, but in that realm, it could be May still. You know, it doesn't have to be our time, right? If it's in a simulation, like our simulation. I mean, I imagine God's not in the same timeline we are either. You know, he's looking at us. Oh, y'all think it's July, huh?
So it's not even really been released yet, and it's already being abused.
Yeah. You want me to continue?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, keep showing the people.
Okay.
I like this.
This is fun.
Please don't
And
talk.
you know, this is like phase 1, you know.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
take it
Beta.
even further. There's even influencers, quote unquote influencers out there that are taking in a lot of money, and it's completely AI. It's someone running an AI system, like some hot AI looking chick. She's making a few $1,000s a week. It's wild. It's some Blade Runner stuff, like real time.
To me.
I've got something really, really important to tell you.
I don't have time for this. What is it?
Never mind. I mean, if she doesn't have time, she doesn't deserve to know. In that first video, I never came down to this end. The green matrix number lines are a little concerning. We're gonna see what happens down here. Hey, you in the blue shirt.
What
Hello?
do you want?
Can I help you with something?
I just wanted you to know that you are not a real person.
What are you talking about? Of course I'm real.
You're simply a character in a video game.
It's not possible. I have my own thoughts and feelings.
It's absolutely possible. Do you see that wall of green behind me?
Yes.
You can see the wall. That's the limit of the map. You can't walk past that.
Don't tell me what I can't do.
Oh, if you can do it, then follow me. If he follows me,
I don't know if I should.
Oh, he's walking away. Trust me, I want to enlighten you. Follow me. I'm gonna start like my own cult inside this video game. I'm gonna slowly convince
Come
him.
to the green wall. Yeah.
Took no time at all.
Make all the real people in the simulated world actually simulated. Let them aware of their simulated abilities in their simulated world. I don't know. It's just crazy.
When you start doing like video games with timelines in it, like in specific eras and stuff, then it'll be super easy to convince them that they're in a video game or that at least you're from the future. And then like you can have all kinds of fun with this. But then it gets into like all kinds of ethics questions and whatnot.
I'm gonna, while we're still on the AI train, that
Oh,
that
no.
part's
Okay, yeah,
the-
yeah.
You
Go
know, see, I'm gonna show them the creepy commercial.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
AI commercials.
I got
Conspiracy music guru
Oh, no.
in the chat. What's up, legend? What's up,
Oh,
brother?
hey, what's up, Mike? Good to see you, Michael. Good to see you. Graph, Nuba, Three Fingers. Oh, yeah, I just looked down. I had to switch my
Glyph,
window up. Hey, yeah, good
Papered
morning.
Bodies, Lambden, Tony
Grand
Drake.
rising.
Bunch of great people here.
Man, I got some freaky. I mean, you haven't even seen the freakiest one yet, Austin. Oh, I've been saving that one. You saw the one I made, but I didn't show you the really freaky one yet. So we're gonna.
Is this AI?
Yeah, they're all AI. Yeah, they're all. But everything I'm about to show you.
I got some more to say about AI on the other end.
Yeah,
so
it's
this
just
is
gonna.
good.
It's gonna. I'm telling you, like if y'all paying attention to that, this. But I'm gonna show you. It's gonna put a little. It's gonna put some little bumps on your skin, a little bit.
I got to
It's-
refill on the coffee
it's
anyways.
All right, so I'm gonna show you the one I put together, and it starts off a little weird, and then it ends a little softer, and then the one after that is an AI alien commercial, intergalactic commercial based on AI making commercials for aliens. It's nuts, and it'd be a perfect segue into later this week our UFO stream.
Just gonna say that. Yeah, we got Close Encounters on Flat Earth this Tuesday. It's gonna be a good one.
week.
Yeah, it's
It's gonna
gonna
be a
be
good
fun. We'll be diving into a specific topic that happened back in 1994 in Zimbabwe at a children's school. And also we'll be asking all those questions. Is it PSYOP? Is it Blue Beam? Is it interdimensional beings? Is it extraterrestrials from extra Terra beyond Antarctica? We're gonna get into all that Tuesday. So yeah.
All the gravy, all the good stuff. All right. So check this one out. One's not too bad, but let me know what you think. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the AI Carnival of the Ages, where past and present collide in a retro-futuristic spectacle. Feast your eyes on the dazzling Earth computer, a floating orb that'll whisk you away to base reality. As you wander through our timeless attractions, marvel at the fusion of turn-of-the-century charm and cutting-edge innovation. Experience the magic of our multi-sense surprising delight for people of all ages. Plug into simulated realities with our domed VR fashionable headsets, immersing yourself in a myriad of captivating worlds within our different reality simulator observatories. And for a nostalgic touch, enjoy a ride on our authentic vintage Earth train, a testament to the wonders of bygone eras. where imagination knows no bounds and memories are made to last a lifetime. So come along, plug in and tune out as you soar, spin, and plunge through lifetime.
All that 100% was made with several different AI software and programs. All of it. All of it. Not one image was real or photographed. From the voice,
Yeah.
from the transitions, the whole video, everything from beginning of that to the end was AI. And that was just, and some of that stuff was, programs are over 2 years old. So there's better stuff than that out there now.
Yeah, you know how they had that Asian chick right there at the end?
Hmm.
So it reminded me of, that episode of Black Mirror where, what episode was that? Joan is Awful,
I was
right?
going to mix that in there. Go ahead.
Alright, so yeah, Joan is Awful. I don't know how many of you went out and watched it, but I told you guys to go check it out. It's pretty trippy, and it's about, um, this streaming service. It's a huge plot and AI is involved, but anyways, this streaming service, buys the likeness of actors, right? And can, with AI, put them in anything they want. Um, and in the show, they were making them do crazy stuff. It's pretty wild. So right now, real time, we have a writer strike and an actor strike in Hollywood. Like so we got production stopping across the board, which by the way, Chris, that's like you're in because there's going to be a moment in time where no movies are being put in theaters for like maybe a year because of this strike. So that's your time. Everybody who's a,
Content
content
creator.
creator,
Yeah.
that's your opportunity to get your work out there because Hollywood's falling apart right now, for sure.
Oh, thank God.
And there's a huge writer strike, actor strike, and another big part of it is because of the AI. And right now, these streaming services are creating um, systems where they are going to purchase the likeness of actors to create AI product, right? Which is probably going to be terrible, I'm sure. At by the rate Hollywood's been going. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there that a lot of it is mirroring reality in a way. There's a huge stretch on the show, but you know how they say lies in the news, truth in TV and the shows and the movies. It's coming. AI is definitely changing the world rapidly. And I'm not saying it's this Terminator S thing, but you know, it's definitely changing the world very fast.
Yeah, that first AI video that we watched, I won't lie, I was watching it intently for the first time, and it made me sick to my stomach.
Right?
Like, physically, I was like, "Man, I might actually have to go get out of here and go to the bathroom."
Yeah. Yeah. Wait till you see this next one.
Oh, that wasn't the creepy one?
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. Alright, thank you for the warning.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this next one, it's an AI. The prompt was to make a series of intergalactic alien commercials based inside, of course, known Western world themes. So you'll see like some newscasts, some sports stuff, some reality stuff, all alien based with crazy sounds and names. So, but it's same thing. It makes you uneasy. It's something about there's parts of this technology where it gives you both experiences of both sides of the spectrum, where it's a real uneasy, almost fearful, dark side to it, and then there's a nice, very beautiful, coherent fractalization part that you can kind of resonate with.
I
Where,
think that it's I think that it's like, and this is my opinion, of course, but the more it actually mirrors correctly reality, the better it is. And the thing that throws us off is the known obvious errors or even an unknown, right? That goes through the subconscious. I tend to get thrown off when the lines of certain things get like really, really blurry and double, triple, quadrupled up. I'm like, that kind of thing really, like, it messes with my eyes, I guess.
this is going to be a difficult transition for a lot of people, mostly because a lot of the people who's going to have difficult problem transitioning are in a very lack state of mind. So the lack state of mind is very fearful, and they are prone to go towards things that make them feel safer, which is repetitive comfort patterns and things they're familiar with. So this new technology coming in as on a deep level, it's going to rub people the wrong way because we're going to have to get through these growing pains of AI to figure out where all the real benefits lie, which for
Right.
me is taking over all the BS labor jobs. You know, we don't need
Well,
uh,
there's
humans
even
to
I
scrub
wouldn't.
toilets anymore. Honestly, we don't need them for that, and we
Yeah,
don't
but
need.
you say BS
Um,
labor jobs. Let's think about that for a minute, because I
yeah,
think
sure.
when it gets to, because my son, he got some artistic skills. It's insane, right? But because of this AI, that future will be very bleak. Like that's one of the reasons there's a strike in Hollywood because all these VFX artists are getting pushed out, right? For the AI.
No. Check what's going to happen. There's going to be a rebalancing. When these are the growing pains of AI because it's with every technology. It's like this. It seems
Right.
fearful at first
It
because of all the
happened.
things it's taken away, but now all of a sudden, because there's going to be a submerging of overwhelming AI programs out there that everybody has access to, and it takes away people's baseline creativity. It's going to make people like me and your kids even more expensive to use now. Just like unvaccinated unjabbed people in the
Uh-huh.
future,
Uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah, very particular people in the future with a particular bloodline who might not be so tainted.
Hold
It's
on,
going to
man.
be a
Bro,
switch
YouTube's over here
value.
like,
Um,
say it,
Yeah, yeah,
say
yeah.
it,
They're going to
say
do
it,
it. Going to
push
do
it.
it.
There's another way that you can look at it too, and I kind of seen this with cookware, right? I know it kind of seems off topic, but with cookware, right? It's like you think of like pans and pots. You go down to the store and like they're pretty cheap. They're made of like Teflon and stuff. They don't really hold up, but that's the new technology, right? I mean,
Right.
before they were made of like heavy, man,
Ooh,
Sorry.
that
My
scared the
bad.
shit
Sorry.
out of me.
they're made of like heavy duty, sturdy things. And now if you go back and try to purchase an older pot, that thing's expensive, right? We just got a freaking casserole dish that's like $80.
Yeah, right.
It's actually from here's a Tribune tip. You go to thrift shops all after the weekends, you can
Oh,
find some
yeah.
really nice cookware for super cheap.
You find nice all kinds of stuff, all kinds of cool shit.
But yeah, to get through, I hear what you're saying, but this video right here, this is going to be the freaky one, and this is part of the growing pains. These are going to be I hope, the more. No, it won't be the most darkest. Unfortunately, it won't be. I don't even want to say that.
Hey,
It's
real
probably
quick,
stuff a lot worse
um,
than this.
guys, hit that like button. Share this out. Share out that power hour. Set the tone. You know what I'm saying? Starting the day off right. It is a Sunday. Starting the week off on a good tone. You know what I'm saying? So just throw that out there. Also support my guy FMX, Cash App $ FMX Radio.
Oh yeah, I forgot to have the caption going. I try not to fill up the screen, and of course, we always appreciate your support here across the Melodome. All three of us appreciate all your friendships and messages, and continue just being cool every week with us, no matter what we're doing, and keep your thoughts healthy, man, just like your body. What we do here in FMX show, always doing the mental check thing. Make sure your body's right, your soul's right, make sure your mind's right too. But we like to talk about weird stuff. This AI is getting real freaky, man. It's getting real freaky. So check this out. I believe this should be the right one. AI-based alien commercials, as if they was in their own Truman type of series. I don't want to give it away, but check this out. It's gonna be weird. FMX Radio. Thanks for being here. Sunday, Super Sunday, mad early, yo.
Welcome back to Schlablinglu, the 20th season. With me, your host, Robolus Meningus. Join me in conversation with Flark the Devastator and Sloth the Disgustor. Today's topic, dental hygiene for mouth breathers.
And then he turned to me and said, "Gablooch."
In this week's Star Corner, we have the trio of sisters from Fishheadlandia. And there they are. Aren't they just stunning? Let's hear what their broodmother thinks of their rise to stardom.
Come on down to Sausage with Schlechter. Yep, that rotating worm sausage looking thing is me, Schlechter. Anyway, you bring the meat, we make the sausage, no questions asked. Off Intergalactic 1 by the Black Hole Diner.
Get ready for the ultimate cosmic showdown. This is Gerfunklet, where chaos, death, and survival collide in a gruesome spectacle. Our first contestant is Zorg from Nebula 9, a sentient ice giant from 52 million years ago.
Let's
then
go,
there's
Zorg.
Zell from Quasar 12, a quantum computing superorganism whose intellect spans parsecs. To be honest, I fear him. Finally, our champion, Flock the Zorflog. Now, place your bets,
Power
viewers.
Rangers on crack.
Who will be the first to falter in the Flock Blashbits frenzy? Who will succumb to the deadly hula move? Who will be consumed in the Glopshit's grapple? And who will stand tall and claim the ultimate symbol of survival and power, the Ogblectanism? So, hold on to your quarks. It's time for Gerfunklet, the greatest spectacle of the cosmos.
It all comes tumbling down this week on...
They told me my eyes would stop glowing after 3 days. 3 days.
This week, we go behind the
Rick and
scenes
Morty
of our most
vibes,
popular
big time
reality
right here.
TV series.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yuck.
oh yeah.
A full week of behind-the-scenes interviews, sneak peeks, and much more. Everything leading up to the season finale this Cleft Heart holiday. All this and more on the Intergalactic Content Network. There's something for everyone, even you, human.
So this is
We
all
see you
AI.
tapping into our feed. Don't
All of
worry, we've tapped into yours many times. You
The
funny
audio
little
too?
freaks. Welcome to
Audio
the network.
too.
Did you make this, Chris?
No, I didn't. No, not this one. Not
That's
I don't have the
creepier than
Rick and Morty
James
mind.
Lee. Is that who his name? That creepy James Lee video?
It does have those kinds of vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
These are the things that I be finding weird stuff, man. I be finding weird stuff. Some of these creators don't even have a 500 subscribers, but they put together some crazy AI stuff. This last 2 weeks, I've been really digging in, trying to learn how to do animation on Adobe Illustrator, bring it to like rendering, and really trying to dig my heels in, trying to teach myself some new skills so I can make some new things too. Not even about keeping up with technology, but if you don't, you will get left behind either way. So you might as well have fun with it, play with the new toys and devices that come out, and understand it. Because when you understand something, you lose fear of any type of crap you hear from other people. Like for me, the whole 5G thing. I know we talked about that before. I think that's a big fear tactic too. I've worked around 5G towers. Have friends who work on them, and
You're corrupted then.
Yeah, obviously.
You're
I'm a
getting
shell.
over.
Trying to use science to speak with
Your
facts
money-
that don't go with
Your
biased
money's
belief
tied, bro.
systems. Yeah, I know. But like everything else for me, this whole universe is mental. So if you look for a certain evidence, you will find what you're looking for every single time. So if it's something that scares you, something that you think that will harm you potentially, and you go out looking for it, oh, you will find it. You will 100% find what you were looking for, because that's how powerful your mind is. Every single time, across the board, for everybody, all the time. There's no
So,
exception.
real quick, take those powers and make sure you go check out what we're premiering today on the Melodome channel.
Oh yeah.
You did mention Adobe. We are going to be talking about Adobe over there. It's going to be a good stream. It's
That's today.
Yeah, it's premiering. It's the video. It's a clip from the last stream over on the Melodome. It's premiering at 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's titled James Webb Imagination Masterclass. You don't want to miss it. Put it in the chat. Did you ever
Imagination.
hit live on Rockfin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Is it free over there or no?
No, I think no, it's on premium.
All right.
Got to
That's
switch
So
fine.
you
over.
gotta pay.
I got logged in.
You got to
must
log in. You want to see
You
Rockfin.
should pay
Yeah.
because Rockfin is awesome. Censorship
Rockfin is
free. Come on.
awesome. It's a place to be. I also
But there's a bunch of free content over there on our channels.
correct. Oh
Free
yeah,
of
there's
our
a whole
viewers.
bunch of free stuff over there. Whole bunch. A lot of my older, scarier edits when I was first doing dark edits like all the time, and stuff with
Yeah, you
Freedom
got a lot
Fly.
of good stuff over there.
Yeah, I have a
Definitely
lot.
not YouTube friendly
Nah, I can't
content.
even. No, like 90% of my old school stuff from like 2 years ago, I can't have on YouTube. They just nah. Yeah, no, it's not even new stuff. It's stuff like from speeches from like David Icke, from just all
Yeah.
these other random speakers, and you might not necessarily agree 100% with each of these speakers. I don't, but they all have something that they could share that's very prominent, very potent, and that can enlighten you and kind of add to your arsenal or ammunition of truther bullets, as it were. And they don't yet, you know how YouTube is. Y'all know how YouTube is. So Rockfin is the spot for all the gravy of all the different densities and colors and salts. It's great. Got Witsit gravy, Troublin gravy, Melodome gravies, all the gravies over there. So y'all know Rockfin is the place to be. We even be live on Twitch too. So some people have issues with Rockfin. We also be streaming on the Twitch, but they don't say nothing over there. They only do the lives and then they turn it off. But y'all know how that goes.
They don't keep them over there?
No, they don't. They don't keep them over. From what I know, I think you can save little clips. I've seen people do that with their games and stuff. So you could probably do it with your podcast too. But I don't really be messing with Twitch too
I
much
like
that.
what
I
you've
just
been
turn
doing,
it on.
Troublin'. I noticed you've been saving your TikTok live streams and tagging it in to your streams later in the night. That's awesome. But yeah.
I actually wanted to help. Chris, you just said that you didn't know how to get your Twitch to save the live streams.
No, I just haven't took the
Yes, sir.
time to look at it yet. You know how
That's
to
just
do
an
it though?
option. Yeah. That's
Okay.
I'll have to look at it again because it's been like a year since I've done it, but there's a way to do it. It's pretty straightforward too.
Nice.
All right, yeah, we'll go over that later today then. Probably a switch I can toggle or something, right?
Yep. You just got to give Twitch permission basically to save them.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm going to definitely do that for my Twitch audiences. Some Twitch people over there that they be on it. So that's cool. On top of all the simulations, this simulation that we're living in is very intricate. And as I said before, when you go out and search for something, the simple act of you, the conscious observer, expecting to find something in itself helps create the reality inside this grand God divine simulation we find ourselves in to give you what you're searching for each and every time. The good, the bad, the scary, the dark, the light, all of it. So for me, doctors and these people who look at, blood diagrams and inside, skeleton structures of human and microscopic organisms and whatnot, even though most of us don't see the things that they're privy to seeing simply because we don't go outwardly looking for it like they do, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that their awareness has expanded to a certain focal point where they can attract certain thoughts and ideas that most of us wouldn't because we're just not attuned to that and we're not trying to be. So, but it doesn't make these things impossible. It just makes it rare to be experienced. And their experience doesn't mean that's going to be your experience if you go down that same path that I've learned as well. And that goes with spiritual, financial, uh, um, emotional, whatever. very, very big, wide, deep pool of intelligence we find ourselves in, and endless possibilities. Because in this realm, everything is permissible here. It's insane. So here's a kind of explanation of the Matrix meets physical reality through the whole birth canal translation in words. So, TikTok's almost my go-to for the search engine nowadays because it'll show you stuff faster than Google will. TikTok and Yandex. Yandex is awesome too, the Russian search engine.
You are a slave. When you are born, you get a birth certificate. When a ship pulls up to its bay on water, it's called the birth canal. When they pull up, they get a certificate of manifest certifying all the products on the ship that bring into the country. When you are born in water through the birth canal, you get a birth certificate, which is your certificate of manifest. This is because you are a product and this represents your cooperation.
Pause this real quick because I don't know if that song is copyrighted behind it. Not sure, but I'm sure y'all heard this before, and this is just another explanation on how we come to be of the synthetic version of us, so they can charge us.
This is why when you die, you're called a corpse. So when you get a letter and your name is in full capital letters, that is not you. That is the cooperation that you represent, and that is tied to you your whole life. When we were born into a copyrighted timeline, which is 2023, created by Pope Gregory in the 1500s, which he copyrighted. Therefore, on paper, we are born into a copyrighted timeline and he owns our bodies, which is our cooperations. You're a biological battery. This is why you get charged in a court, and when you get charged in a court, you go sit in a cell, a battery cell. This is why cities look like motherboards, because we literally are electricity. We are brought and sold on the New York Stock Exchange, and that's what your birth certificate number is. This is us at the very bottom, the debt slaves. Above us you have the entertainment industries, the government, education. All of this is to keep us down here. There's so much more that goes into this, people. Please follow for more. You are a
See, I believe he's right on a lot of the things he said, but I also believe that focusing too much on the dark side and not on the solution of it and how to interact with it can be just as harming as not focusing on it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a solutions guy myself. I see. I mean, to some extent, what can you do?
Here's what I learned from it.
You get so crazy out there.
Well, you can get educated. You can figure out how the laws actually work and pertain to you, and then you can have You can have the courage to act on it.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment doing something
It
like
is.
that, to step out of that. And not only that, I don't think it's something you can do alone. You know, I think it'd be hard to do alone because stepping out of this whole system, I mean, there's some type of support you would
Do
think
you
you would need.
do you remember that video on like the actually I don't know if we showed that live or if that was something I watched personally now. Nice. There's a
I know,
video
right?
called the first follower. And it's like
Oh yeah, I watched
Oh
that.
yeah, it's
I
a good
watched it in
one.
Telegram. Shane shared it in the
right.
Telegram group.
You have to be willing to stand up and be
Yes.
the fool.
The
And
dancing guy, right?
yeah, and then if you see somebody else that's doing that, you need to have the courage, if you feel like it's right, to stand behind them. There's tremendous value in the first follower.
Can we
Without the
play
first
that? I'll
follower,
go find it.
yeah, that's a great video. Without the
What are
first
you looking
follower,
for?
the leader is nothing more than a dancing fool.
That's true. Yeah, it was a great video. Let's see.
Oh, I was looking for it. Can't find
Um,
it. I'm surprised it didn't come up immediately.
I usually just go right in a Telegram and pull stuff.
I'm looking for it in Telegram right now. First follower. Let's see.
I don't know if that was the actual title or
Yeah,
what.
me neither.
Yeah, I know, me neither. That's what I was searching for. Yeah, we'll play a little commercial while we're looking for that. Be right back. Can you find it? I can't find it.
No.
I mean, I keep.
Still
I know
looking
I'm
though.
putting in. Yeah, I'm putting in the wrong one. I think I'm putting in the wrong title. I
You can
seen
shout
it
the
too.
chat out. I'm gonna keep looking for it.
Yeah, let me shout the chat out. I appreciate y'all, you bunch
Bunch
of
of great
early
people here,
birds.
man.
Early
Early
birds. It's all
birds.
it's freaking 7:47 here
Bro,
on
there's
the
even some
East
West
Coast.
Coasters over here at 4 a.m.
Wow, y'all need to just go to sleep. Nah, I love y'all West Coasters, man. My northern hemisphere people, my inner circle people. Right, we're in the inner circle, right? Kind of. I always hear that. I think Dave says that a lot. With the inner circle, but I'm not sure. But shout out Miss
People don't like
Layla.
that word. What do you mean inner circle?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like wouldn't the North Pole be the
Hmm.
inner circle? I don't know. I'm not sure how this works. Who gets to make the rules on this? But yo, shout out to the chat. Mr. Martin, good to see you. Super Sidewinder, you're still here. Yeah, what's up? Parody Bear, Tapered Bodies. Miss Layla, good to see you, sister. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. Effed up world. What's going on, my brother? Nuba still hanging out with us. Miss Pamela, my sister, good to see you. Hope your spirits are up and your health is nice and good as always. Here on the FMX Radio's early Sunday power hour. Probably go a little bit longer. Got a lot of things to share. Still a lot of was looking for this awesome video. It's kind of old of this dancer at this rave. It's still early in the day. And nobody's dancing. Everybody's sitting, just watching the band, probably eating the shrooms and the devil's lettuce and all that stuff. They're just sitting down, not dancing. And all of a sudden, this just weirdo gets up out of nowhere, decides, hey, I'm going to do this. And he starts dancing all by himself, looking weird. Just first guy's always a weirdo. It's always the weirdos that pop things off. You got to be strange. You got to be brave. But then you got to even braver, the first follower to join that weirdo, to let everybody know, hey, it's okay. It's okay to dance. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to move. Smile. Be happy. Express yourself with emotion. Yeah. Facts.
Took the courage to stand up. That's for sure.
And then everybody else who had reservations of joining no longer has any reason to have reservations, and then will just flock to the crowd.
I might have that saved somewhere deep in my files too, but no, I thought it would come up quicker than that.
I can't remember which Telegram group I seen it in.
That's all right. We'll show this one for now.
Heliocentrism is simply modern day sun worship masquerading as a
Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? You might not know that.
science. So their goal from the beginning was to put the sun at the center. So how do you do this? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to make the sun much larger than the earth. For the earth to orbit the sun's going to have to be much larger than the earth. So they made the sun over 1 million times larger than the earth. But when I stand on earth and I look at the sun, it looks no bigger than a quarter. So if the sun is over 1 million times larger than the earth, how come I observe it no bigger than a quarter? So how do you explain this? Oh, well, that's because the sun is really far away. So since we had to make the sun really big to place the sun at the center, now we have to make the sun really far away. So let's make the sun 93 million miles away. But now we've dug ourselves into a deep hole, because now we've made the diameter of the Earth's orbit around the sun roughly 186 million miles wide. And Polaris never moves. The North Pole in June is separated from the North Pole in December by roughly 186 million miles, and yet both poles point to Polaris. So how do we account for this? Oh, well, we're just going to have to make Polaris really, really, really far away to account for the fact that we see no observable parallax from June to December. So the only way to rationalize away this is to make Polaris over 2.55 quadrillion miles away. But I ask you, if Polaris is over 2.55 quadrillion miles away, how come I can see it? Oh, well, that's because Polaris is really, really, really freaking big. Polaris is 46 times the size of the sun, and the sun is over 1 million times the size of the Earth. Every explanation has to be reverse engineered, because they started with an ultimate goal of placing the sun at the center. Every other fact that they create is reverse engineered to make this work. It's just like George Orwell said in his book 1984. The stars can be near or distant according as we need them. Do you think it's beyond our mathematicians to create a dual system of astronomy? This is exactly what happened in reality. All these men that we learned about who created the heliocentric model, they had to work collectively over the span of 2,000 years to reverse engineer this model. This model comes from man. This model is built on perfected mathematics that has no relation to reality, no relation to the truth. It's simply a reverse engineered masterpiece.
See, I'm telling you, my algorithm on TikTok be on point, man.
Even if them people were real, I would suggest maybe those people aren't even real.
You know, that part gets overlooked in George Orwell's 1984, and it's cited so often by freedom fighters and Republicans even and things like that. And yet when it gets to that part, when they're doing the confrontation of the overlords, where they're telling them, yeah, it's all math, it's whatever the heck we say it is, then that just gets completely pushed to the wayside, right? They really don't want us looking at that.
You know what they do want you looking at? They want you looking at these NPC people on TikTok, like doing these. Have you seen that? Bro,
yeah.
What
man.
going on?
I know some of our audience hasn't seen them. I'm gonna have to pull up one of these. Like every.
I talked about it for a little bit on the Rockfin side, I think, though.
You just pretend to eat the gifts that they send you.
That, or you just react to it. They put a cowboy hat on. And he's like, "Oh, thank you for the stupid cowboy hat. I'm such a loser."
Like, what is going on? When is it? It's cool now to be an NPC. Like, what the?
I'm gonna do the NPC. I'm gonna be an NPC Glober or Flat Earther. I haven't decided yet which will be funnier. If I spout out
globy.
Yeah, spit out
all the way
repeats and it's like take on the. I gotta think of a good title.
Oh no, that's a good idea. Actually, I mean, shit. If you really think about it, if you did flat Earth proofs for each one, or you could do globy like jokes, like clown, like something that like debunk a globe, like
you can do both.
Yeah, you can do both.
Depending on the there's a lot of gifts. There's tons of gifts.
But bro, it's like, would you sit there and do that ridiculous shit when you could just have a normal conversation? It's just,
I mean,
what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Listen, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a moment. And we can't downplay the importance of reach, right? Like, it's not about the people sending in the gifts, right? That's nice, right? That'll fund the operation. But the bigger thing is that you're going to get picked up by the algorithm. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of people in one sitting, in one moment, watching your live as opposed to just the hundreds. And
struggling, you got to do it.
I got to do it.
Do one of them like that.
I don't know. We got to work out a few things. If you guys help me work out a few details, then maybe I'll consider it.
I'm looking for a good overlay program because I have OBS now. I've been wanting you to help me set up OBS so I can use one of those filters so I can make my head a globe, and then that way be super globe man or something, and then we can spit globe facts to all the TikTokers and send my own ways. You flat earth fools, look at my head. Of course it's round. Of course water sticks to a ball. You don't need evidence. You need to
find one of those NPC ones. I'm sure there's like a video that's been clipped.
You cannot compete with my cranium.
This kind of worries me. This is like the future, right? This is what my children are growing up in, and
it's gonna go by so fast because even I like my daughter and her friends like not into any of this crap that all these other dumber teens are into. Like she laughs at them with me too. She looks like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then her friends are the same way. They're like how we were kids. They want to go skating. They want to go to the mall. They want to go outside actually. But I know there's a big portion of the world who are stuck inside and depending on where they live, and all they have access to is foolishness online to give them guidelines on how to act. But since if you're in your kid's life, they seem to turn out okay,
right?
Decent compared to if you just leave them to their own devices and electronic devices in particularly, then you never know how they're going to end up and who's teaching them what and what's influencing them.
So true, bro.
Insane. Yeah, I'll look for one of those NPCs. But I wanted to show off this. I know a lot of people seen this. Some might haven't. There's old movie from back like in the 60s on how they planned things literally decades before they dropped them. And so, and we forget that.
I remember this. This is a good one.
Yeah, I was going to expand this and make it a whole screen thing, but I think it's safer to play it like this because I think it's a copyrighted movie still. It's still within the timeline. It's probably copyrighted, so I don't want to make it too easy for YouTube to strike me down.
Y'all need to chill out. Yeah. Chill out, YouTube.
I know, we just showing a little something. They're like, y'all need to stop showing that. Y'all need to blow bubbles in frogs' butts or something if you want to be left alone.
Right.
And, put some fake breasts on, then we'll leave you alone. Call yourself a he, she, them, it. Then we'll leave you alone. After you'll blow up.
Have you not heard yet that we're a protected class?
Yeah, we got to
deny our experience.
Which one of you is going to be Chris from Mr. Beast? Because it ain't going to be this Chris.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, listen, that shit. My son went through it. He's like, what is going on? Because my son was a fan of Mr. Beast, My son's, telling me this first thing in the morning when that whole thing happened. He's like, Dad, it just ruined it for me. Like, I don't even care for the content anymore. I'm like, son, the world's crazy.
I didn't even catch what happened.
So Mr. Beast has this friend of his on his journey, his business, and his name is Chris. And now, after having a child and everything, they got a baby. Chris is all of a sudden now like Christine or something, like wearing a dress. And Mr. Beast has to go along with it, apparently, I guess, because of the shareholders. He's not really the owner of his company anymore. There's not much he can do, or he's being threatened of being canceled. He's kind of in a situation. I don't know.
And you can hear it in his voice every time he goes to defend his friend, Chris, and everything. Like, you could just feel the energy even coming through the screen. Like, yeah, bro, I'm so sorry, Mr. Beast. Like, they got you by the toronjas. Grapefruits.
Yeah, my oldest son, he was a fan of Mr. Beast, and he's even seen, because he's been following that situation, and he told me that Mr. Beast, I guess, has already gotten into some heat. I guess revealing how he really feels about the situation and how his hands are tied, and he wasn't allowed to publicly do that for some reason. I don't know.
The company owns your image.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They
and
own your likeness. Back to what we were just talking about earlier. That's where we're going, right? That's the world now.
It's like, you can't say that as Mr. Beast. You can go get some plastic surgery and go be somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have Mr. Beast take a crap in the middle of the restaurants in downtown New York. Nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do. Dude, what a crazy world we live in.
Isn't it, dude? What a...
Well, you better do what we say, or we're going to have somebody go take a crap that looks like you.
Yeah, dude, yes.
There's nothing you can do about it, man.
Joan is awful. Black Mirror, guys. Check it out.
With low power quotient. We want them to work for us. Nothing more sinister than that.
All this just to offer me a job.
Special sort of job. The newspapers talk about the corridors of power, the power elite. Let's just say we'd like you to join the club.
Oh.
There's a vacancy in our newsreel department. We'd like you to help plan the news for 1973.
Come again?
Plan the news for 1973. (1973). We've only roughed out the news for 1973. Nothing's been given the go-ahead yet, but this is the kind of thing we have in mind. Come.
Today, April 14th, 1973. First historic pictures by Radstar of the combined U.S.-Russian landing on the moon. Shown here are Majors Webb and Mikhailovich taking their first steps into the unknown, firing their retro rockets to land their spacecraft on the dust-covered surface.
Did they just
Accompanying
sneeze?
note for us stay-at-homes, both the Pentagon and the Kremlin have announced that the moon has no strategic value.
A comforting note for us stay-at-home.
You know, they were laughing their ass off when they were filming this back in the day, knowing our grandparents had no idea that they was talking about, the realness.
They said the joint Russian and United States, and then we immediately get challenged with, "You think the Russians and the United States can work together?"
Right. Competition only exists for poor people, for the lower class.
So, before you continue, do you guys think that every news article, every piece of news is fake? Or do you think, I mean, like, even on a local scale, do you think that has to obviously be some form of real news, right? And then they have these agendas coming in. What are your thoughts on
Every shred of it is fake. It's all fake. No, I'm just kidding.
that?
I lean with the latter. It's there's a lot of real news, but there's a lot of fake news weaved in, and no matter what it is, they're always steering their narrative. As the saying goes, "Let no good crisis go to waste."
I agree.
I'm gonna say that, as I usually do, it's all mental. So it's all has some real to it. It's a storyline. They feed us a story because most of us don't tell ourselves our own stories. We go passively through life daily and become, not, I don't want to say jaded. Well, I guess it's not a bad word, but jaded with reality. And so instead of taking control of our own reality and our own thoughts, we just kind of let things happen. So when things happen to us, by default, we get angry, and then within that anger, it turns into It turns into a behavior pattern, and then with the behavior pattern now solidified in your own mental validation of that, this is my reality. It's hard to get money. I never have enough money. And saying those things, thinking those things daily, I'm always feel sad. Nothing ever goes my way. You, by default, across the board, all of us are always constructing our own reality. And a lot of it's just because it's a given reality. It's not even realities you chose to create for yourself. It was ones that was given to you based on all these storylines that you got exposed to via other people, your parents, friends, uh, television, movies, radio, music. All these things are everything that's done vocally, that's set out a human's mouth, taken as a joke, seriously, or whatever, is a
Yeah.
storyline.
Most people don't even watch the news, right? They're actually hearing the news from somebody else, right? It's like water cooler talk, passive communication at work or whatever. And then
Correct.
people aren't even creating their own thoughts. It's all being fed to them unknowingly. And then again, with what you said about emotions, it's triggering people's emotions and they're making decisions based off of emotions, which is wrong to be doing, you know? So, yeah, absolutely, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just
No,
agreeing with that. I
no,
wanted to
you're
hit
good.
that.
No, good point. Good point. Good
But
addition.
yeah, I was just asking that while we were watching this because news is some bullshit.
Correct. It was cleverly designed. How much these occultists knew about thought becoming reality, I don't know. Maybe they know all of it. Maybe they know just enough to get the rest of us in trouble. Why they have a nice life of luxury and not working that hard, simply because they don't let themselves vibe with,
Ratings
yeah,
in the
or let them
ratings.
in the ratings, or get caught up with titles, or saying negative things about themselves, or letting other people say negative things about them. And and other people can say negative things about you, but if you listen to them and you take their words as a more factual story than the one you're telling yourself, then you help create that manifestation or that reality, that experience for you, where it's just as true the other way around. If you continually focus on the things you will yourself to experience, which is, abundance, good luck, a charmed life, if you will, because you tell yourself that storyline
Gratitude.
day in and day out, 1000% continuous gratitude. There was a saying, there was a poem. Damn it, I forgot who said it. I want to say it was who is the actor who's the paraplegic now? Michael J. Fox has a certain day. I'm gonna have to bring it up. He has this motto. It's dang it, fuck, I'm embarrassed. I can't think of it. I have to pull it up, but it's profound, and it's along what we're talking about right now. But let me keep going with this video, maybe to come back to me. Thanks for joining us on FMX Radio Sunday Power Hour. Putting it in the gravy, talking about AI, consciousness, this realm, a little bit of FE knowledge, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We like to mix it up over here.
Hour and 8 minutes now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the point. That's why it's so powerful. An hour could be whatever we want it to be, really. That's the rules here of this realm.
It bleeds over.
It bleeds over into the cosmos, into intellect, to blah, 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 and to all types of things. And that's what we're talking about. Time itself, right, is just a construct, right? We decided what an hour was when we looked up in the sun and we're going to break down the sun in these sections, or somebody did. It could have been broken down in any ways and counted, but we decided to go with these finite numbers.
Some people use the moon. Some civilizations were using the moon to tell time.
Exactly. There's probably other ways of breaking it down. It's just how you want to focus the collective mind to go along with it and become a reality.
I can't show you any film on this next model. We haven't photographed it yet. But this is the way it will sound.
June the 22nd, 1973. The State Department releases film of the ultimate weapon, codenamed Icarus. This satellite is equipped with a solid reactor. In layman's terms, it can freeze air solid, stopping all missiles, killing all forms of life. Icarus orbits at the same speed as the Earth, can hang in position over every major city that threatens the peace-loving nations.
Rather proud of this one.
So peaceful.
Come on. Please, sit down, Mr. Lutton.
Oh man, dude, there was just footage of people picking up debris, rubble.
September the
5th. Did you guys see that?
Where?
This Ukraine war shit, and there was a news report. Oh man, dude, I gotta find that. That was a good one. Watch me not be able to find that one.
Yeah, see if you can find it.
Yeah, there's a lady piling up huge, she just had 4 or 5 large pieces of concrete. She's holding it with one hand, walking across the camera. You could tell it was immediately some styrofoam stuff.
I mean, she could have just been incredibly strong, Austin.
Could be.
Like She-Hulk out there.
Oh, Lord have mercy. She'll be out there twerking.
Twerking with, what's her face? The rapper. Megan Thee Stallion. Oh, Marvel.
Yeah, they ruin everything.
The new phase in global warfare. War by example. At 4:32 our time, China took out the remote Indian border village of Bandar, unprotected by the Icarus network. After the first 2 5-megaton H-bombs have fallen, the 9-way hotline finally
Switch it off.
effect. But
This is going to happen in 1973. You're going to make this happen?
No. We're going to make models, much cheaper. Then we photograph the models.
Fake newsreels?
Fake newsreels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake newsreels and listening to our fake commentaries.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yeah, you're getting there. I Knew you would.
Well, now the moon rocket and the satellite, that you can get away with. That's too remote for people to grasp. It's too far away, but this... I mean, you invented this village on the Indo-Chinese border. Well, somebody could check up.
Very mountainous territory up there. There'll be no survivors in 1973. No rescue work. Radiation scare.
Yes. You can do it. This could be the news for 1973.
Not necessarily exactly like this. We only plan in detail 1 year ahead.
Oh, you only plan 1 year ahead.
Hey, tell me, what is the news item that's bothered you the most in the past year, 1967?
Well, it has to be the new American intercontinental ballistic missile, the Boy Wonder, doesn't it?
Just the one I asked him to set up for you. The new ICBM, codename Boy Wonder, with a much-talked-about Mercury warhead. I haven't any special effects up here, but perhaps with the proper sound. Blast off. And Robert Larkin, television director, high IQ, 35 years old, is scared. Scared by nothing. It doesn't work. It's a scientific impossibility. The same goes for the much-talked-about Mercury warhead. Perspex.
Well, if...
He's like mind blown.
This
What do you mean?
Rocket doesn't work.
Even today, people are like, well, it's just a movie. It's just, it's real here. Well, it's because they make a movie back before they actually made rockets, talking about how they're going to fake it. Doesn't mean they're actually going to do it.
No, they would never tell
Work,
us.
then the others?
They have a...
Oh, my bad. Was it?
No, I was just saying they would obviously never be so stupid and hubris as to tell us the method of which they were faking things if there was a big conspiracy.
Right, yeah. Couldn't be so easy just to use models and tell people who just got their first screen TV, no color yet, black and white. And there you go. We're getting feedback from the moon.
It's miniatures.
They have a fireworks party at Cape Kennedy almost every other day. Well, you didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets.
I think it's... Let me see. I think it says it.
Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
Newsbenders.
Going on?
Newsbenders?
Newsbenders.
And the H-bomb, you mean... That
bending and
doesn't work either?
Right.
Right into a globe.
Very, very dirty.
What was your first reaction? Relief.
1968.
Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be relief. Only 12 people are allowed beyond this point. Most of them work in the photographic department, taking phony newsreel pictures of our models and processing film and so on. Sit down, please. Ah, pretty pictures from our stills department. The Boy Wonder.
Do you really think that missiles and satellites are mile out of the country?
No, not at all. I've only shown you the hard news. There are other things, much softer things we thought might interest you.
Well?
1973, we thought it might be time for an anti-teenage movement. A long-awaited return to maturity. Sheriff. Perhaps even a religious revival.
Oh, I see. You want me to arrange the grand...
He's talking about Kurt Cobain.
Satanic Panic.
One mix of, you got Nirvana and Foo Fighters, all these grunge movements, and rebelling, from rock and roll to alternative, grunge. I think they kind of...
Even before that, the hippies, that was all
you have the
product of social engineering.
Then you got the gangster hip hop of the 90s, which is all
Social engineering.
Yeah, social engineering. The urban side of things.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all problem, reaction, solution. They spark up one side of the culture, and then the reaction of that is like the satanic panic, the well-to-do suits that are all like, "Oh, the kids, it's all on the kids. They need to be more mature." And that's basically what he was talking about. It's like the return to maturity, the anti-teenage movement, which is pretty much just like saying the anti-freedom movement, right? Anti-free spirit movement.
Yeah. For
All right.
sure. I found that video.
Oh yeah, I just downloaded it. I was trying to pull it up. It's not. Hold
It's
on.
saying format, yeah, not
Yeah. Say the format ain't working.
Here, I'll try again over here.
It's just an MP4. It's weird. Yeah, video has unsupported format. If anything,
while you guys are doing that, I will tell this real super duper brief story that's hilarious. I had this friend back in the day that was like really into Pokemon games, and his dad was super religious, and he was like, he took all his games away one time. They were like really expensive, and he said it's because Pokemon are satanic. It's a demonic possession and things like that. Ooh, echo.
He's sharing his screen.
Is that an echo?
Yeah.
Do you see it?
You still got it? I think it's on.
Yeah, this is really strong.
Look at that lady. You see that?
This marble.
Hey, is it just me? There's an echo from everybody but Austin.
Yeah, it's probably an echo from me screen sharing. But could you see the video though?
Yeah. Quite impressive. Yeah, it's quite impressive. That people have such feet of strength.
One-handed, dude. A cement that thick. That is incredibly impressive. I don't think I could have done that putting my whole body into it.
Where is it?
The moral.
I was talking to my wife on camera. Sorry.
The moral of the story I was just saying is that I thought my friend's dad was just crazy, but turns out he's probably right.
That's it right there.
Pizza. If anyone sends
This is the new trend on TikTok right now.
I'm hungry.
Another NPC online.
Just grab a random item. Just grab a random item and then just start saying random crap.
Oh, she's doing motions like that. What?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all smut then.
Yeah, it's like some weird dominatrix thing, because they're making people, like they're making them do these things.
So they got hobo looking.
Oh my god,
bro! He woke up on the side of the train tracks. He's like, "Oh, I could do this."
I'm saying need to brush my teeth. Picked up on it. They're doing all kinds of. It's just weird, bro. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Is it cocaine? I think TikTok is just a drug itself.
Thank you for the gummies. We love gummies. Thank you for the gummies. We love gummies. Thank you for the gummies. We love.
Oh my god.
Bunny hop. Ice cream. Yum yum yum. Ice cream. Yum yum yum.
See, congratulations to everybody in my chat room who still has more than 3 brain cells left. It's an achievement nowadays.
Are you guys seeing those numbers though? Like 6,000 viewers.
That's discouraging to me.
That one.
That's a little discouraging. Like, Lord have mercy. This is what society rather watch.
That one's 3,500.
If you are thinking of doing the NPC trend, I would not recommend. I just tried to do it. I did like this emo theme, which is why I look crazy right now. But it didn't work. I just embarrassed myself in front of all my real life friends and didn't make a cent. So if you're thinking about trying it, I would not recommend it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the loss of your own dignity.
There we go. Somebody had to say it. I'm glad somebody. She still has 3 brain cells left. Good job for you, little girl.
She still tried it. I wouldn't go that far.
That's funny.
Hey, well, you know, you can. It doesn't hurt to try. You know, you can embarrass yourself a little bit. She's still young enough.
Martin, I think Martin is very correct. People are lost. They're all cray cray. Yeah. Dude, crazy.
Look, you see the hawk over here?
Before shower and after the shower, I'm going to tell you exactly how much I made from one live today. Because I've already made $121 earlier today, and I moved that on over, and it was completely empty. But I'm going to show you exactly how much I made from this one live as an alien today. An hour and a half. All right, shower. All done. Now for the big reveal of how much I made in an hour and a half live stream. Now remember, yesterday it was $308 for an hour and a half. Tonight, on my friend's live battling experience as an alien, I made this much right here. $104. $104 is how much I made from an hour and a half live stream battling against my friend. Now, is this a lot of money? Yeah, it's $100 an hour. Is this the most I've made from one APC live? No, that was yesterday with $308. No, well, I'll take that back. Yeah, $308. That was my biggest one yet. Is this sustainable income? I don't know. But until this trend dies out, I'm here for it. I am your Bald News NPC.
Yep, there you go. That's so those the people who didn't know. Now you know. The NPC train is on a roll. They're all over the place.
Well,
Connor Banks Mather.
acting like an NPC at my graduation.
There you go.
Oh, he's just making fun with it.
Yeah.
Casey Owen.
Lame. I thought it was gonna be
Yeah,
that's
so
wild.
or something.
I mean, you can find crazy in every social media. It just happens that everyone's downloading this one currently, and
Oh yeah, there'll be another one coming up.
Real quick, let me plug what I got coming up. 1 p.m. Eastern today, we are dropping a new video over on the Melodome. It's a clip from one of our latest live streams. The fellas here were on that live stream with me. It was a good conversation, great stream. It is titled, I forgot what I titled
Freaking stoners.
but it is titled James Webb Imagination Masterclass. Yes, at 1 p.m. Eastern today. Make sure you guys check that out. And I will be going live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully the fellas here join. It's going to be a good stream. And looking forward to that. Let me drop the link for the premiere today for the video. Shameless plug.
Well, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, I'm so ashamed. I'm sorry. What you guys got? You doing anything? You got this is Sunday, bro. You're a Globebuster, so I'm sure you'll be
I know
Globebusters.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I never do anything. I'm not a content creator. I just jump on these random shows every now and then. I'm just kidding. We're gonna be doing a show, I imagine, at 3 p.m. So you guys should be there, or just be lame. Right? That's up to you.
Don't be lame.
Yeah, don't be lame.
Don't be lame.
I'm at work, but I'm there. I'm there in spirit, and then I watch it after work.
Exactly. All right, we'll take a break real quick so use the bathroom. I'll play this commercial. Be right back. Thanks for being with FMX Radio Sunday. Power Hour. Your boys, Melodome, Troubling, doing it. Love y'all.
Okay. Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They think they have a good bead on things.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
While the world he inhabits is, in some respects, counterfeit, there's nothing fake about Truman himself. No scripts, no cue cards. It isn't always Shakespeare, but it's genuine.
1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
One, two, three, four.
What's going on, people? Alex Michael here, Conspiracy Music Guru.
And you are listening to FMX Radio on Rock Fence. Yeah, let's raise those vibrations.
I told you so. I told you. Remember when I told you about 9/11? Remember when I told you about Building 7? Remember when I told you about the fluoride in the water? Yes, I did. Remember when I told you about the New World Order? Remember that? Remember when I told you about the chemtrails in the sky? Remember when I told you that NASA was full of lies? Remember when I told you about the ultra mind control? Well, I just want to say that I told you so.
And we're back. FMX Radio early on the Sunday. Been going hard with my boys from the Melodome crew. Troubling, Austin, my boys. What's going on? We hanging out, talking to AI, consciousness, interactions with FE in different realms and blah, blah, blah. We speak it all here, dribbling the gravy on all the foods and all the thoughts. Try to keep your spirits up and letting y'all know it's going to be another great week ahead. I hope you're excited, and you got to expect that to receive that, you know, if you let the thoughts go the other way and like, oh, last week was stressful, so this week's going to be stressful, and these problems are still lingering. Those things will happen because that's where you allowed your attention to go, and where your attention goes, your reality goes. So be very conscious of that, be aware of that, and act on it. It's a daily struggle, but after a while, just like riding a bicycle, it becomes the new default of your life, expecting positive things to happen, so therefore it does. It's been working for me, so I know it'll work for you. What about y'all? How's y'all's speaking things into manifesting been coming along lately?
We're on the upswing, my friend. We are definitely on the upswing, and I think that everybody's feeling it. We've had a lot of prayers and support from the community, so we do appreciate that. And I will just again encourage everybody to, however you guys are doing that, keep it up, because the tides are changing dramatically, and the raising of the tide will, of course, raise all the ships.
True that, brother. True that. Life is what you make it, man. So you gotta go out there and will it into reality, right? Live your best life. That's what I'm about. Busy life at that. Got to keep it moving, keep it going, and then don't trip too much. About the past. Don't be stressing too much about the future. Just focus on the present. Get it done. Avoid the procrastination. Whatever you got going on, you know, whatever goals you see them through, you know.
That's right. That's all it is. Just like he just did right there, just saying the things with intent, put it into the universe, and God will take control of it for there. He wants you to do the act, and He'll set it up for you to accomplish that. And He never will give you something you can't handle. You made it this far, so obviously that is the fact. That is the truth behind it all. Of course, we like to.
Yes, sir.
We do choose truth over facts.
Right, correct. That's good. That's deep right there. That's deep. Think about what he just said right there. That might hit some people's eardrums and be like, "Wait, what? What? Nah, yeah, that's right. Facts ain't always the truth, especially nowadays. Facts can be pretty much whatever you want them to be. It can be fluid, like gender, apparently."
Huh? What?
Ever, in a set, to be able to fully restore the resonant frequency and function of any part of the human body and energy field. This was called The Secret of Five, and it was not released publicly for, I think, like 50 years of his work. It was just a secret of his work. This is like a very advanced level, but it's something that's also so fundamental. Everyone should be aware of this. Where this stuff was incredibly hidden before, like that incredibly advanced internal alchemy. Until 30 years ago, you couldn't even access that stuff hardly. These invisible waves of sound structure all of matter. And so this is the field of cymatics. And so I've worked with people in the cymatics field now for decades. And I also worked with Mandara Cromwell, who's the person who is the leader of cymatherapy, how to apply the cymatic sound waves in complex sound codes, a method developed by Dr. Peter Guy Manners in Britain in the mid-1900s, but now moved up to a higher level of technology. They started out with like Chladni plates, in which you'd have like just like a metal plate that would have powder on it, and you draw like a violin bow across the side of it, and according to the note you created, it would immediately form up the amorphous mass of powder into a very specific geometric mandala. And now,
I love cymatics. I've been researching this a lot lately, and for me, cymatics, words of power, speaking things into manifestation, is all the same thing. Different explanations, different degrees of understanding, and helping to push your awareness outward, making it further and the radius bigger, so that way you could kind of grasp it in new ways you couldn't before. That's why it's very, very important. This cymatics, what this guy's explaining right here, is why you have to be very careful about the words you choose to speak every single time, and not allow yourself to get emotionally triggered to say things you only mean through anger or emotional outburst. Those are the manifestations that will keep bringing you the lessons you're probably tired of learning. And that only changes when you decide to change the way you think and change the words that you're using.
You know what? Let me say this real quick. It reminds me of a conversation I had with someone yesterday at work, and the same thing can happen to people when they get diagnosed. I had a coworker who just had a stroke at work, and came up and seen me yesterday. We were having this conversation, and he feels great, and they were telling him, trying to like put the fear in him. It could happen any minute. It's around the corner. It could happen again. It's gonna come get you, type shit. And granted, yeah, he just had one, but we got into the conversation where they diagnose people with like cancer and things like that, and that initial shock of these doctors diagnosing these people, and they're being told that first initial shock to the body of them taking that in and accepting that to be reality is the death blow, the kill shot. That's what, it changes that person's mindset. And I seen that happen real time with my father, and not saying there wasn't something physically wrong with him, but it was that mindset. He left that hospital with an expiration date, not necessarily an actual date, but a timeline that he embraced. He believed it to be true, and it came to fruition. That's what manifested into reality, right? So your
Oh yeah.
thoughts, personally, I look at that as in your thoughts do create, your reality. They set the tone.
I would say that with certain ailments too, doctors really don't know much about mortality. Uh, I can't remember exactly how the saying goes, but something along the lines of what is perfectly healthy for one person can kill the person sitting next to you. So, like, there are people that I've known who, in my family, even my grandfather was given a expiration date, and he ended up living, several years past that. So there's,
And
there's
I wonder what his mindset excuse me. I wonder what his mindset was once given that diagnosis. I wonder if he was like, "Fuck that,"
he just wanted to work.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I plan on living to be over 100 myself. I don't know why everybody's so dead set on being so crippled when they're 80. I know a lot. I've met a lot of gentlemen through my life. Not as much as I would have liked to have met. Oh, that should be out there living among us right now. But I've met some of the healthiest 80-year-old who go to the gym daily and drive Corvettes and live a very fulfilling life in their 80s. And they also believe they will be living over 100. We're all over the place. This idea of dying early and crippled is retarded. Hate to use that word, but it is. It's silly. And it's solely
So do you
based
think that
on the
they
belief
put
of yourself.
do you think they put the idea of, how they say year by year as time goes on, our
Oh, it's the
lifespan is
spell.
shortened. Do you think that that's just bullshit being put out for us to accept that and think that our lifespan is in fact shortening over time?
I don't think it was put out
That's like
intentionally.
saying every cigarette you smoke, you take 10 minutes off of your life. You remember those commercials?
Yeah.
That's just
It's
literally, it takes you 10 minutes to smoke the cigarette. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Which I get it because I met some really old people who outlived non-smokers. So it's hard to gauge off that because even that has to do with the belief in yourself. It seems if you look at these odd statistics given by these odd different universities over the last 5 or 6 decades about the studies of cigarettes, and it wasn't until the introduction of the idea that cigarettes created cancer that cancer statistics went up. it's
I got another idea
you
for
know
but that's not YouTube friendly.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
So everything seems to be what you based your own will and reality on. If you think external things have more influence over you than your internal thoughts and behavior and choices, well, then so be it. Mote it be. That's what you experience. That's what you get. That's just the law of nature here. The nature seems to be, whatever your awareness of the nature is what you get to experience. You're not really creating anything. You're just allowing yourself to experience what's already been created for you to experience when you allow your awareness to get to the level of observing, feeling, and experiencing those things that you couldn't before, allowing yourself to entertain thoughts, ideas that you did before in your past, let's say at a lower vibration version of you that was unwilling to accept different storylines or evidences of your reality and your interactive capacity here in it, which I think which it seems like to me you're able to interact with this as much as you believe you are, and you are your own limit to your own existence here. So the more you take other people's experience and adopt it, the more you, and kind of by default, inhibit yourself from deciding what you want to be reality and how you interact with it. You know what I'm trying to say a little bit? That's why I'm a simulating kind of guy right now, or whatever the word is.
Trigger word
Ooh,
simulation.
trigger, hey.
Eric wants you to hit the play button already, I guess.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, that's interesting, right? I got you.
Now we can do it like Anjani did. He would use pastes and gels and liquids, and you could see that whenever you get this invisible wave of sound, it will immediately structure the physical matter. It's the waves that actually construct the form of the human physical body that give it its form. And so with the sonic waves, this can be taken very, very far, but it shows people visually in a very immediate way. Change the sound vibration in an invisible wave, and it will immediately change the physical structure of what's being impacted by the wave. It shows people visually how invisible waves actually create all form and all energy patterns. Then you've got the aspect where once they discovered what these different vibrational sounds do in creating these structures, as I mentioned, a British osteopath named Dr. Peter Guy Manners in the mid-1900s created a system at his clinic outside of London where he could apply complex sound codes. And one of the fascinating things about the cymotherapy sound codes is he found that his goal was to be able to restore the core resonant frequency in the organs of the body, connective tissues, energy field, everything. And so what he found is that using just one sound alone was not sufficient. 2 was not sufficient. 3 was not sufficient. 4 was not sufficient. It required a combination of 5 precise sound frequencies together in a set to be able to fully restore the resonant frequency and function of any part of the human body and energy field. This was called the Secret of 5, and it was not released publicly for, I think, like 50 years of his work. It was just a secret of his work. But the Secret of 5 is very important, bringing together those different frequencies into a sound complex code. And he also found that to get that full resonating ability in the body, it's not enough just to hear it. Those complex sound codes need to be driven directly into the tissue of the body through a transducer. But cymatics is the perfect illustration of how invisible waves structure all physical matter and are the foundation of all life and existence. And cymotherapy is the healing application of that in extremely advanced forms. One of the great lost secrets of all spiritual development, of all personal development, is the concept of structuring the subtle bodies. This was something I was really exposed to through the work of Dr. Samuel Sagan at the Clear Vision School in Sydney, Australia. And it really put me on a really good path back in the 90s for this. So the idea of this is that our energy bodies, our subtle energy, has a particular structure to it. Very advanced spiritual teachers will sometimes develop the capacity to perceive the subtle energy structures in the bodies of their students. Because all of our karmic history, everything we've done in the past, whether in this lifetime or earlier lifetimes, all of that collapses into specific structures in our energy field. That means that our energy field is geometrically structured. There's a sacred geometry to every person's energy field as a unique structure in the universe, because they're all structured slightly differently. There's commonalities between them all. We all have the 7 chakras and acupuncture points and all that. But which of those are really active in our field? Which of those are really sedated or dormant? Which of these are properly formed and which of these are distorted? Which of the links between the centers are operating or are not operating? This creates different sacred geometry patterns in the energy field. For someone who's very advanced in this as a spiritual teacher, they might even be able to see what spiritual traditions a person trained with earlier in this life or another life. Because the practices you learn from any spiritual tradition invisibly structure the energy in your field. This is like a very advanced level, but it's something that's also so fundamental. Everyone should be aware of this. The only thing you take with you through the gate of death is the structure of your energy field. So that's the pearl of great price. You've structured your energy field into a particular geometric pattern through everything you've thought, everything you've felt,
You see, I just wanted to pause right here because we've talked about this before, Austin, and I think he's kind of just saying it differently than I've said it before. Is that this is why, and when you leave from here, even though you didn't come into this life remembering where we came from, because that's the whole part of the experience here, you kind of have to forget that you're part of infinite everything, or you can't really take it seriously here. Loss wouldn't really mean much to you if it didn't have some type of profound meaning to it. And I think what he's saying right now, you carry this information, this energetic structure, which even the way you look now is light. It's light information that we've been told it's exteriously physical, but that's just a projection. It's the things we're looking at you is all in here, and how you perceive yourself is all in here, and how y'all perceive me is all in here. So, and how we would describe each other outwardly doesn't do it efficiently enough to describe it to the point innerly to where it resonates correctly just yet. I feel like I'm a part along in my journey where I can kind of appreciate the loss just as much as I did when I believed that it was a finite thing. So for me, my recent grandmother who just passed away, I pretty much without a doubt, know I'm going to see them again. I just feel it. I know it. I don't even feel like they even really left me. That whole cliche thing, they're in here thing. Yeah, they are, but I literally feel their presence as that they're part of back home, back part of the everything, the all part, with God. And not just sitting around in heaven on a cloud sipping tea. They might be, they could if they want, maybe, I don't know. But I feel like that sipping tea and the comforts that we would think we're going to carry over to heaven won't mean the same. The drinking tea, sitting next to the ocean, all that feels good here in this realm because it's supposed to. It's uniquely designed for comfortability here. But the level of comfort, of bliss, of things to come after this life will mean just as much when we get there as the things that are meaningful here do now. It's an ongoing, eternal, etheric journey. And our consciousness is part of that eternal, etheric realm of existence. The identity of us will still exist, I believe, after we leave this plane of existence as well, because this is just a pass through, like a school, like a lot of people like to attribute to and whatnot. So I'll keep going unless y'all have something to say.
No, I vibe with that.
Cool.
Every action you've taken, thinking, feeling, and willing, like Steiner says. Of thought, speech, and action, like the Buddhists say. So all of that creates a force. If I have a detrimental thought and I keep reinforcing it, that'll start changing a pattern in my energy body. I have a highly beneficial internal emotional state. That starts structuring something in my energy body. Every single action we take, including thoughts and feelings, structures our energy field through repetition. And that is the most important thing that we need to be aware of. And also, once you know that, it opens up into all of these other areas. So, for example, when you are, as I mentioned before, training with a particular tradition, all of the practices of that tradition are meant to structure your energy body into a particular form that gives you particular siddhas or particular powers, as I describe in the Himalayas. But you will develop different siddhas and different structures in your energy body based on what practices you choose to do. So the blessing and the curse of modern metaphysics, as I often talk about, is that the blessing is that we're exposed now to an incredible wealth of amazing information and practices from traditions where this stuff was incredibly hidden before, like that incredibly advanced internal alchemy practices coming from the Chinese Taoists. Until 30 years ago, you couldn't even access that stuff hardly. And now there's almost so many deep parts of it are available to us. But that's the blessing. The curse is people don't have the structural ability to put the fragments coming from all these traditions into a workable form. That's why when they learn this, they have to understand how to structure their practices in such a way that the structures of the energy body actually become something that optimizes this incarnation. So you can take with you all of these new improvements, these new organs of spiritual perception in the subtle body. So I can connect to that, another one of the questions coming up, which naturally follows on this, which is just as I have an introductory course for the vibrational testing and healing, which is the personal wavelength course, where you learn what the French call medical radiesthesia, I have an introductory course for the spiritual science track on my website for the Vesica Institute, and it's a course called Essential Teachings and Practices on Spiritual Science. And in Essential Teachings and Practices, I cover a lot of things that are absolutely essential that aren't even being discussed anymore, that people don't even have on their radar, including this concept of structuring the energy field, about being able to develop both receptive and active forms of meditation. Both must be equally developed, whereas many schools will only develop one of the two. But a major part of it is that I teach what Steiner called the 6 basic exercises, and I call the 6 essential exercises. Now, we have to be aware different traditions will structure energy field in different ways. Some will really hyperstructure the fields around the head, some will structure it around the heart, some will structure it around the abdomen. But the issue around all of this that Steiner was aware of and the European Rosicrucians found a solution to is that our entire body of energy has to have an organizing center, like the point in the center of the circle. If you don't have an organizing center, for any energy field, it becomes chaotic and it can become destructive. There must always be an organizing, balancing, harmonizing center. That's the whole point of biogeometry. It required a
There you go. That's the end of it.
Gravy. That kind of made
Gravy.
me think about, I talked about one time, a couple streams ago, about how, you know, when it comes to the story of Jesus and the 12 disciples, there could be a representation of it being our body. And the 12 disciples are the 12 systems within our body. You know, I can list them all off, but we got the circulatory system, all those different systems, right? The endocrine system, blah, 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 blah. And you have Judas, the one who betrayed Jesus. So that would be one of the 12 systems. Well, in our body, if one of those 12 systems were to fall, right? And that would be like a domino effect. You would start having other issues happening within the body, right? It's kind of a representation of what's going on with the Bible. So some people might get triggered over that thought, but I think it's very interesting.
Agreed. Still looking for that following video. We'll have it for the next show.
Find it.
No, it's okay. It'll come up in the next show, I'm sure.
Okay, using sonar. But a cross section of that sonar is a cymatic pattern, like this. That's their letters. That's how they write. Now, what I'm about to show you is gonna blow your fucking mind. This is the cymatic pattern of a dolphin communicating with its trainer. This is a frozen cross-section of that. Now, if we enhance that and remove the noise around it, we can see a picture of the man in front of the dolphin communicating with the dolphin. Now,
Isn't this called crystallography or something?
This
like
is
that?
a frozen cross-section of how...
Yeah, I think we spoke, Brienne might have talked about...
Yeah, Brianna Lynn, she jumped on and put some gravy out on that. What was that lady's name? Austin something?
Betka?
Austin Veta or Veta?
Diva Veta, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I still got to get in contact with Miss B so I can have her on so she can break down that gravy a little bit deeper than that other week that we had her when she stopped by. But yeah, man. Sounds, brother. Sounds. Godly, divine, climatic sounds.
Water definitely sentient.
Of how they communicate with each other. The next one is a
medium.
whale's frozen cross-section of their cymatic pattern. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is a crop circle found in England. And not only is this cool because it's a crop circle, but the inside of the crop circle looks pretty similar to a cymatic pattern. Pretty wild.
You lost me at the damn crop circle, dude. No, I'm just playing.
Circlemakers.com. MI6.
Exists around you. The universe begins to bless you in miraculous ways. New opportunities will begin to show up without you trying to push yourself toward them. The third and the most negative word that you can say for yourself is the word I can't. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. I cannot achieve this in life, and I cannot be successful. These are all negative emotions that arise due to some previous experiences that you had in life that are holding you back till this very day. It is the result of those past experiences that your subconscious mind believes that you are unable to do or achieve something in life, and you also begin to hold that true to yourself. But imagine if Shakespeare would have thought that no one would read my plays ever. It is a waste of time to write about anything. What would have happened? History wouldn't have registered a noble mind in the field of literature. We find his literature for references till now, keeping him alive with his work with us till now, just because of the fact that he believed that he could. You will not know the power that you hold within you till the time you let it flow freely. And that power won't be unleashed till the time you will keep saying, I cannot do this. Take another example of J.K. Rowling, for instance. Before the release of the first book in the series of Harry Potter, she was leading a miserable life. She lost her mother, lost her relationship, lost a child in the process, and later again fell into an abusive marriage relationship.
Oh, she sacrificed
She was
them.
also refused by many publications. What if she would have believed that she could not? If she would have told herself that she could not be a published writer, she would have never found the fame that she has today. She told herself that she could, and all of us know what happened next. Her books were sold out from the bookstores, and she became a world-renowned author. Before the actual miracle happens, everything might seem to be miserable, but it is your belief and strong determination that can bring your desires into reality. Take a look at other personalities such as Oprah Winfrey herself. She pulled herself out of poverty and is now one of the richest people in the world.
Forget
If she
Oprah
would have
Winfrey,
continued
bro.
to believe that her poverty had no end, her life would have spun
Hell
about differently.
nah.
Even Steve Jobs says that the world is built by people no smarter than you. By
Yeah,
the word
Joe
you,
Dispenza, that do
it means
be
people
in
like
them
you and
circles
I.
though. That's why.
Simple,
Oh
ordinary
hell.
But only
I mean, I don't know if he's in
Oprah.
them that deep,
Not
but
in those circles, I hope.
yeah. I mean, I hope not. I don't know. I haven't heard his
Sounding
name.
more and more satanic.
Yeah, as we go on. Yeah, that's right. Close your mind, people. Don't listen to. Don't open your mind. Close your mind and flog those who don't listen to you and maim those who say that your God is not the right God.
We don't have any special powers, dude. Everything is as it is, right? Just here. We've already
Right
discovered
there.
it, Truman.
That's right. You already discovered it, and then don't go over there because you'll die and you'll never return, and that's it.
Yeah, lightning strikes planes for some reason. That was the reason for Truman not to leave.
That was one of them. Yeah, it was the poster. It shows a crazy poster. But matter of fact, hey, I wanted to.
What about
Let me
they
read
whip
this
up
quote.
a whole freaking
Yeah,
storm?
go ahead.
Go ahead, Trevor.
I just say they whip up a whole storm to keep them from taking a boat.
Yeah, right. He can't go out there. He's gonna make it. Should have been much bigger if they were so worried about that. But there's a lot of people here for early morning Sunday show. That's great, man. I have a quote I want to share with you guys though. This is from Deepak Chopra. I read one or two of his books when I was in 7th grade. And I found this quote the other day, and I thought it was interesting. I take these kind of little quotes with me. No matter how cheesy they can be, there's a lot of truth behind them. And he says here, he says, be happy for no reason, like a child. If you are happy for a reason, you're in trouble because that reason can be taken from you, right? So it definitely resonates with me, even with like the history I had where, you need happiness from an outsource, right? You need to outsource your dopamine hits.
What y'all got coming up? Go ahead, y'all. I know y'all don't want to stay. I got this little video I'm gonna probably play. It's a little long. It's 30 minutes, but I'm only gonna play like 10 minutes of it, just for like the exit, because it talks about the Truman Show. And it's one of my new favorite YouTube creators called Moon, the Moon Channel. Let me show you here. It's the Truman Show, a warning for men, and he does excellent takes on top popular topics. And he's got a pretty successful YouTube channel. He talks about a lot of the same things we do. I don't think he's a flatty or anything, but you don't have to be a flatty to kick it with us. It helps, but you don't got to be. As long as you're cool. And he be putting in some gravy. Let me show you.
Certainly helps.
It definitely helps. Take you a little bit more seriously. You've done your homework.
Imagine if you lived in a world where you were constantly under surveillance, a world where every aspect of your life was controlled by a single entity, where you are subjected to relentless propaganda, with you existing as one insignificant character in an elaborate script. This is the chilling vision of reality that Peter Weir put forward in his masterpiece, The Truman Show. Sound familiar? Well, The Truman Show's story echoes nearly every aspect of our modern society today. So let's take a deep dive into the story of The Truman Show to understand how you're being manipulated and if it's possible to ever actually break free.
All right, I'm not going to. I just wanted to tease that. I'm gonna drop this later when I remix it.
The look of the director in the Truman Show is so cliche. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. But I'm gonna chop that up and re-release it. Probably put it on my Rockfin first, so for all the premium members can watch it and whatnot. Do my take on the Moon's edit of the Truman Show. And just Truman, everything until I get my movie out. It's all about Truman because we're all Truman. That's the whole paradox of it. That's why the film did so great, because you can literally, everybody could put yourself in a version of Truman in your own life. You're your own Truman. Except instead of the immediate people around you trying to trick you, they're their own Truman too. And it's much, much more sophisticated and integrated than the movie can ever disclose because it's a very fractalized realm we find ourselves in, and everything is permissible here. Hell, I love that we have people like my man Mr. Lip. He believes in the fae, the fairy people. I think that's awesome. I don't have enough people who take that serious enough. So
You
that
don't
way he
believe in
can tell
fairies,
me
bro?
something.
Could be real.
I could be real. I don't know. I'm not gonna say they don't exist.
I've watched a documentary. I told you about this, Chris, where they were in Ireland and they were now again, these could be small animals, I don't know. But they were at this spot in these woods where it was a lot of lore of fairies and little trolls and things of that nature. And they had these cameras with these certain spectrums on them. And you could see these small figures walking in the woods, like bipedal looking figures that were tiny. You could see like other things that were flying. Maybe they were giant bugs or something. I don't
A
know, but
lot
it
of
was pretty fascinating.
there's a lot of stories from people that actually live out in the more wooded areas, especially like up north, like in Maine and stuff, of like pygmy people and elves or whatever the heck you want to call them. And one of my friends actually, told me a personal story, but when he was really young. So it's like he thought that it was just a weird dream that he had, but told me a story about how he thought there was a pygmy person like knocking on the window at night, trying to like get in the house. So
Steal
I
his
mean,
shoes.
yeah, who knows? Who knows how real all that stuff is? But I do know that there's lots of lore all around the world, referencing the same kind of thing. And same thing with dragons, right? It's like we got all this reference of dragons. Then you got old world Florida talking about this guy going out in the 1900s and going out and getting the dragon skull. It's like so maybe there is some truth to these stories.
Maybe. I got a dragon here. I got a
Oh
dragon.
yeah, the little house dragon. The house of the
House dragon.
dragons over
Don't
there.
insult her like that. She's a beautiful, gorgeous, dangerous dragon.
Freaking monster, lion, dragon, Goliathan.
All she does is lay around.
All
And we're
right.
actually talking about a bearded dragon, not like my wife or anything.
I just remembered something.
Oh,
Do you
damn.
guys? I know
Well,
this.
I didn't want people to like think some bullshit,
I know this
My
kind of
wife, my wife is no dragon, but don't be trying her. She'll definitely burn your ass.
You're dragging it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you guys remember that scene in Shrek where like one of the very first scenes where they're introducing the donkey and they like got all the magical creatures like in chains and stuff and they're like walking them into slavery basically. Like what if that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
some truth in plain sight stuff?
Maybe. Very well could be. And then they have them all chained up like in the cabin in the woods. They got them all locked up in these cells deep beneath the ground.
Oh jeez.
You ever seen that movie?
I have not.
Oh
You
yeah.
gotta check it out. They have
mother.
all yeah, that's a huge spoiler right there, but it's really good. I mean, it's a cheesy good movie. But yeah, I got what do I got coming up? I already plugged mine a couple times already. Got videos coming out. Stream Tuesday. You guys go check it out, melodome.live.
Glowbusters, be there or be Sphere, 3 p.m. today.
Ooh, don't want to be
Eastern Standard.
sphere. Don't want to be sphere. You want to be nice and square. That's the new one. We're going back to being square. You don't want to be because you don't want to be around anymore.
Thought we were
Instead of
going
being
to the floating up thing now. No, I'm just playing.
I can't keep up with it. Floating sideways down, the sky's getting closer, blah, 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 Chicken Little.
I'm
but
gonna
this was a
figure it
great-
out over on Glowbusters though.
Well, yeah, that's right. There and Glowbusters Tech for all your tech savvy people out there want to hear their opinions on how the intricacies work in this realm and all their evidences. Gotta love my Glowbuster family. Thanks for joining us here on our first super early edition of FMX Radio Power Hour, doing it the big things, sharing the conversations with everybody else who likes to get up early. Shout out to those who's listening in the future, which will be my past shortly, and we're gonna be out this in a hurry. Thanks. Oh, I wanted to shout out to the people supporting me on the GoFundMe and my True Earth Etsy for buying all the shirts and merchandise. I still haven't even got all my samples yet to be showing off and to make a proper commercial, but that's also coming, as well as a concept part 3 Truman trailer, because I've been getting more assets and videos and 4K footage, and then I'm going to be getting the camera shortly, and yeah, just keep pushing out new True Earth entertainment with my boys from the Melodome. Trouble and Tribune over here doing our thing. Last words, last minute, going out? Nothing?
Much love, everyone. Yeah.
Two little outro videos, one with the credits for all the memberships. Shout out to all you great members out there for supporting your boy and being here with me each and every time I go live. So I really appreciate that. One love. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.
Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
We choose to go to the moon.
I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here.
First question I was wondering, when are we going back to the moon?
It's taken us many years to open this door to useful cooperation in space between our two countries. And may I say, in signing off, here's to a soft landing.
All of them spin-offs of space technology. That's why Jimmy Carter from Georgia
and Gerald Ford from California agree.
Space technology has down-to-earth benefits for everyone.
America is going to space again, and we're going there to stay.
And next, for the new century, back to the moon, back to the future, and this time, back to stay.
That's a great dream. But that and our other dreams are clearly the natural extensions of the space program which began a generation ago.
Is to return to the moon by 2020 as the launching point for missions beyond. Beginning no later than 2008, using the Crew Exploration Vehicle, we will undertake extended human missions to the moon as early as 2015.
By the mid-2030s, I believe we can send humans to orbit Mars and return them safely to Earth. And a landing on Mars will follow. And I expect to be around to see it.
I'm Christopher Crumb, and you're listening to FMX Radio.
A serpent guides me to damnation. No religion is a lie. Trust the book in my creation. Cause the purpose is life. Temptations of destruction. People closer to destruction. Devastation comes a consequence. Created by abuse. They call the stuff of freedom. They stand and can't refuse it. Purple walls and make the pin and grab its bullets. Illusion. My intentions to repeat it. Down inside our home. This brotherhood. I count the birth.
The movie begins with the credits showing the actors playing characters in Truman's life. As they describe the lifestyle of working on The Truman Show, they have no issues with it. It's a lifestyle for them. It's a new way of living. As they repeatedly state that nothing in the Truman Show is actually fake, they say it's just controlled. As they bring up the question, is there really a difference between true reality and a manufactured reality, if you can never really tell the difference? Because everyone on the show believes that what they're doing is for the greater good. And by being manufactured, perhaps this reality is better than real reality. I mean, today, more and more people think so. I mean, just very recently, the K2 Institute asked a sample of 18 to 29-year-olds whether they would support or oppose the government installing surveillance cameras in every household to reduce domestic violence, abuse, and other illegal activity, creating a situation exactly like the Truman Show, all while willingly actually having the awareness of the situation at hand. Choosing to deliberately adopt a Truman Show lifestyle, a lifestyle where everything you do privately, every conversation, every action, every shower, every time you go to the toilet, every time you cook, is all being watched by the government. Every intimate situation, every friend, every moment always being watched. Would you want this lifestyle? Well, the survey found out that 1 in 3 people actually did, which is a horrifically large amount of people who admitted that they would actually favour the government watching everything they do inside of their own house rather than just being left alone. And this surveillance would be then used to police social media and enforce conformity to certain narratives, with AI being used to monitor for certain movements, patterns of behaviour, or keywords that could trigger an alert, which sounds all too familiar to our current world today. I mean, if people are willing to comply with this, then perhaps it's not so crazy to think that people would willingly choose to live in the Truman Show. And by understanding this, we can understand the rest of the movie. The film continues with a monologue by Christoph, who outlines the central premise of the movie. Truman, the protagonist, is an unsuspecting lead of a reality TV show that revolves around his life. Truman, an orphan since birth, has been raised to believe that he is an ordinary individual residing in the picturesque town of Sea Haven Island. However, the reality is, this world is completely false. Every person in his life, including his mother, best friend, and wife, are all just paid actors. Sea Haven Island is also fake. In actuality, it's a vast set enclosed with a gigantic dome. And it's this arrangement that provides Christoph, the director of The Truman Show, with total control over Truman's life and environment. This control extends from manipulating the weather to the day-night cycle, and even the positioning of the stars in the sky. Truman's every movement is broadcast globally, with additional funding for the show being derived from product placements. At the start of the film, Truman then leaves his house, where we the viewer secretly witness a camera that is hidden in Truman's bathroom mirror. And as we watch him, Truman is just going to work, having another regular day as he's watched by an audience. He greets his neighbors, makes coffee, and gets into his car. However, just before he drives off, a stage light falls from the sky, landing on the road outside of his house. Truman then inspects the light, noticing it's labeled Sirius, referring to the brightest star in the night sky. He's confused, but he doesn't really think about this too much. I mean, the thought of him being in a TV show is just so far from his mind that how could you possibly even imagine that you're living in a reality TV show based around your life? This thought would just never come up, and so this just seems like a mild coincidence. On his drive to work, the radio then begins telling a news story about debris from a plane falling from the sky, an attempt to rationalize this fallen light. The radio then discusses the dangers of flying, marking one of the first subtle subconscious manipulation attempts by Christoph.
An aircraft in trouble began shedding parts as it flew over Sea Haven just a few moments ago. Thinking of flying somewhere? Nope. Oh, good.
All to brainwash Truman into having a fear of flying and discourage him from leaving the island. And this subtle manipulation persists throughout the film. For instance, when Truman finally gets to work, Truman's boss mentions a task that would necessitate a boat trip, to intentionally trigger Truman's aquaphobia, and by forcing him to go to the water and forcing him to see a sunken boat at the dock at the bay, this then further reinforces his fear subconsciously. This way he will never want to get in a boat, as being face to face with his greatest fears is keeping this potential danger strong in his mind. And the fact that Truman can't overcome this manufactured fear-mongering means that he's always kept weak and controlled. And this is exactly what happens today in our own world, where we are constantly bombarded with fear to control what you do. One of the most common examples of this comes from the world's most influential people telling us that the world is going to end just around the corner if you don't pay more taxes and reduce your quality of living.
We will raise Canada's price on carbon pollution, rising by $15 a tonne starting in 2023 and rising to 170 Canadian dollars per tonne by 2030.
People like Greta Thunberg, who has repeatedly warned and even tweeted in 2018, quote, "A top climate scientist is warning that climate change will wipe out all of humanity unless we stop using fossil fuels over the next 5 years." And humanity really hasn't been wiped out. And this isn't just a one-off. This constant fear is always drilled into us, that humans are going to be extinct in just a few years, unless you give the government more power, more control, and reduce your quality of life even more. And when these predictions are proven false, they will always say another date again and again. And if you don't believe me, The Guardian, for example, claimed that European cities would be submerged and Britain would have a Siberian climate by 2020. And of course, this was complete BS. Establishment leaders like Al Gore claimed Arctic summer ice would be gone in 5 years in 2009, and the Arctic ice cap is actually thicker and growing. We'll go back a few decades, and the elite claimed that there would be global cooling instead, when now it seems like we're in global warming. Ocasio-Cortez recently claimed that the world would end in 12 years if climate change was not addressed. And yet, if you look at this pattern of predictions, it seems like this deadline will simply be extended again, perpetuating the cycle of alarmist predictions. All while the elite fly around in private jets constantly, emitting tons of CO2 with their extravagant, luxurious lifestyle, all being fueled by fossil fuels while they lecture you to pay more carbon tax and pay higher bills. The movie then transitions to Truman confiding with his best friend, a deep-seated desire to break free from the confines of Seahaven Island and all of the madness around him, and instead to venture off to Fiji, a place that symbolizes freedom and adventure for him. And as Truman grapples with his yearning for change, he is haunted by flashbacks of a tragic incident from his past, the death of his father in a boating accident. This event, which was orchestrated to instill a fear of water and keep Truman on the island, continues to cast a shadow over his entire life. But in a shocking twist, Truman encounters his supposedly deceased father on the streets of Seahaven. The sight of his father alive and well leaves Truman stunned. However, before he can approach his father and finally see the truth, his father is then swiftly whisked away on a bus under the guise of a homelessness cleanup operation. But it's this encounter that serves as a catalyst for Truman questioning his entire world. And this is when Truman's life changes forever, because it's in this moment that he begins to realize that every aspect of his daily life is crafted with a hidden agenda. The television programs he watches echo the same narrative. The media headlines consistently endorse the beliefs they want Truman to adopt. Even the people that Truman interacts with on the daily repeat the same scripted lines and positive affirmations. Propaganda from Christoph permeates deep inside the society, much like its pervasive presence in our own society, because just like Truman, we are constantly inundated with propaganda designed to keep us blissfully ignorant of the reality around us.
Platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
I mean, everywhere nowadays, we see madness plaguing our entire society. Just recently, a school in England was in controversy for an interaction between two students and a teacher, after an insane, aggressively demented lecture from the teacher with the two 13-year-old girls.
Saying things like, should be in an asylum. I didn't say that. I just think if they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unhappy.
What was this lecture about? It was about the two girls not accepting that their classmate was actually a house cat. And because these girls wouldn't accept that their classmate was a cat, the teacher exploded in rage, calling these students despicable for not believing their classmate is a cat.
A teacher had branded a 13-year-old girl despicable because she refused to accept that a classmate identified as a cat.
This insane nonsense isn't just in schools, it's now in every corner of society. And if you don't like it, you'll be banished from all culture institutions, social platforms, and just society as a whole. In some cases, you'll even get your banks cancelling you. Seeking answers and reassurance, Truman then turns to his mother. However, she dismisses his concerns, suggesting that he hallucinated the entire encounter with his father, all to perpetuate the lie that has been Truman's entire life. Soon after, we transition into Truman's past, where the movie reveals his first encounter with Lauren, a woman who would leave a lasting impact on his life. At first, their eyes meet across college, sparking a connection filled with longing and desire. The film then transitions to a dance, but Truman is dancing with his horrible wife, where he then spots Lauren in the crowd. Their eyes meet again, and they share a moment of intense connection, only then for Lauren to be forcibly removed by men in suits. And this scene underscores the artificiality of Truman's relationship with his wife, revealing it to be a mere construct of the show, whereas his true love is a hindrance to Christoph. The next scene then goes to a library at the college, where Truman spots Lauren's hand adorned with a pin that reads, "How is it going to end?" suggesting that Lauren has actually infiltrated the set in a bold act of defiance against the show's message. Because Lauren is a beacon of truth in this world, but her attempts to reveal the truth are always silenced and suppressed, as her voice is repressed constantly. Any sign of protest is crushed, and Truman has no idea what's happening. And then as we see Truman trying to recreate Lauren's face, it's clear that the only purpose in Truman's life is to find her, to find the truth, and escape this artificial social world that he lives in. And all while this is happening, people across society in the real world are watching Truman's life eagerly. And as disgusting and dark as this may seem, many of us don't realize that in many ways, we have multiple versions of the Truman Show happening simultaneously, and a real life version of the actual Truman Show could be created sooner than you think. You see, with the world of content at our fingertips, and the ability to instantaneously demand exactly what we want, exactly when we want it, one desire remains constant across the board. People want to see a representation of the human experience that is authentic. And whilst this desire to be a voyeur of the authentic has existed for as long as entertainment itself, the bar for what is considered truly authentic has constantly been raised. For a long period, reality TV quenched this thirst for genuine characters and stories. We watched shows like Survivor and The Bachelor that showed us how real people handle extreme, albeit planned, situations. Shows like The Kardashians took this a step further by giving us a glimpse into how real people handle the struggles of their own lives, no matter how mundane and ridiculous. But as social media grew, access to all of these seemingly mundane moments in other people's lives grew with it. And despite similar content being deemed too dull or too raw by television studios in the past, online audiences were proving them wrong, turning vloggers and lifestyle influencers into overnight stars for just recording and posting their everyday lives. Because the best entertainment has always been about providing a universal story or just another human being that we can latch onto. And what better than using actual real life characters for maximum satisfaction? And this is why every day we're seeing more and more online creators pushing this concept to its limits. I mean, at the moment, you can right now log into Twitch and watch someone else eat, drive, work, socialize, and even sleep. Everything constantly in real time. And these people do it willingly. So where do we go from here? The truth is, there's a massive flaw to all of this. The subjects of these videos are always aware that they're on camera. So how can someone be who they really are when they know that they're always being watched? Of course they can't. And so this creates a demand for something like The Truman Show. And the truth is that media companies like Amazon have already started experimenting with smaller scale versions of this format. I mean, just earlier this year, Amazon Studios released their series Jury Duty, which stars Ronald Gladden, a non-actor who thought he was volunteering to be a juror on a real case. But unbeknownst to Gladden, nothing in this court case was real. The case was made up. The judge, his fellow jurors, the defendant, the attorneys, the courthouse security, and every single person he interacted with over the course of the 17-day trial were all comedic actors. And during that period, Gladden made friendships that he thought were actually real, making decisions that he thought would change people's lives forever. But it was finally revealed to him that the cameras he thought were there to capture footage for a documentary were there simply to let us all in on the joke that he was unknowingly the subject of. And while the compensation of $100,000 was there to soften the blow, this seemed to make this whole thing appear much less sinister than it sounds, and its overwhelming success with audiences and critics set a precedent that really wasn't there before. Because Jury Duty isn't a major media company's first attempt at the Truman Show format, it's just the first one that resonated with audiences. But even more creepy is that in the early 2000s, Channel 4 attempted two similar shows, Bed Sitcom, where 3 non-actors from the public were moved into a stage flat with 3 actors posing as flatmates, and the far more elaborate and expensive one, Space Cadet, where 9 real people were asked to quit their jobs to train for a month and participate in what they thought was an actual mission to space. Both shows received a mixed reception and were criticized for being manipulative and for being psychologically damaging for their involuntary participants. One of the actors in Space Cadets, Charlie Skelton, even spoke about the effect the show had on him despite knowing beforehand that the whole thing was a hoax. He said, quote, "For about a month after the end of the show, I thought I was on camera all the time. I would wake up at night and think there were cameras in the corner of the room. It was quite disturbing." And so just imagine the effects the experience had on the non-actors. And Ronald Gladden, the subject of Jury Duty, also expressed something similar. However, the discourse surrounding Amazon's Jury Duty now, nearly 20 years later, isn't nearly anywhere near as controversial. In fact, it's overwhelmingly positive. The series has even been nominated for multiple Academy Awards. So now that the world has told them we're ready, it's almost a certainty that Amazon and rival streaming companies will continue to try and replicate and expand upon the success of this Truman-esque format. But when companies with endless resources like Amazon, Disney, and Apple are all encouraged to push the boundaries of a format like this and turn up the dial in pursuing a way to capitalize the ever-growing demand for the ultimate authentic character study, it seems that all roads lead to us being glued to a screen, watching a person who has the misfortunate fate of being the real Truman Burbank. As Truman reflects on his past, it becomes evident that he still yearns for Lauren. He even recreates her image using fashion magazines, as Lauren represents the only authentic thing in his fake, empty world. And it's revealed in the film that Truman's fixation on Fiji stems from the fact that Lauren was now supposedly living there. And as Truman plans his move to Fiji, he then begins to notice more and more of the absurdity of the society that he lives in, notably when his radio seems to malfunction, providing a detailed commentary on his every action.
Okay, he's making his turn onto Lancaster Square.
It's in this moment that Truman knows he has to escape this fake and mad society that he lives in. And so Truman visits a travel agency to purchase a ticket to Fiji. And this scene is filled with subtle hints, designed to dissuade him from traveling. posters warning about disease and terrorism abroad, and an image of a plane being struck by lightning, all serving as little nudges to control his actions into the right direction. And this concept of subtly guiding individuals towards behaviors that align with the state's ideals is something that we're seeing in our own world today. In fact, this sort of thing comes directly from the burgeoning field of behavioral economics. Now, behavioral economics relies on the premise that most people are irrational, often making choices that are not in their best interests, and consequently, to optimize the potential of a population, a government may need to steer the population towards making the right decisions. And in the UK, this is done by a government unit called the Nudge Unit, a government entity dedicated to implementing behavioral economics on its population. Now, initially the Nudge Unit had relatively benign beginnings, being used to promote small things like loft insulation by offering subsidized clean-out services for people's clutter. And this simple intervention by the government resulted in a 5-fold increase in loft insulation uptake, leading to significant energy savings, which was great for everyone. However, as the Nudge Unit became more and more successful, the focus soon shifted towards more controversial objectives. With the UK government leveraging the growing surveillance state and its growing data collection capabilities, they began to personalize threats and car tax reminders, even including photos of the cars in the letters, akin to a kidnapper sending a photo of their captive with a ransom demand. And this approach was found to triple the effectiveness of the letters. But still, this is fairly innocuous. However, the Nudge Unit then attempted to influence not just behaviors, but people's actual beliefs, as they quickly realized that people were resistant to direct government messaging, and so their solution was to use third parties and downplay direct government involvement in marketing campaigns. This strategy was outlined in Mindspace, the UK government's 2010 manifesto on influencing people's behavior. Because don't just take this from me, here's the Nudge Unit's view on this. Someone who has developed a dislike of government interventions may be less likely to listen to messages that they perceive to come from the government. In such cases, the most effective strategy for changing behavior may be to use third parties or downplay government involvement in a campaign or intervention. And so it was around this time after the quote that the UK government used the Nudge Unit to influence TV shows and social media, partnering with companies like Sky, Meta, Indeed, Bloomberg, Santander, and so many more. And this gave the Nudge Unit unprecedented access to the entirety of the media that you consume. And by controlling the media, they would then be able to control the ideas that the population formed about the world. And so what were they doing with this control? Well, of course, they were pushing the government's narrative. For example, the Nudge Unit often pushes for characters in TV shows to be more environmentally conscious so that they can make government messages more digestible, as the characters are now the one influencing the population, not just being direct government messages. Which is why this is especially prevalent in kids' TV, as kids are so much easier to influence, and kids can then influence the parents. And so once you notice this, it gets so much easier to spot. I mean, just take a look at this scene from the soap opera Coronation Street, where one character brings up his suspicion about the government, and the other two people in the conversation immediately shut it down as ridiculous.
They don't want you to know. The media, banks, big business, they're all in it together, a secret global cabal.
Then in a later scene, they discussed that his suspicions about the government and banks are actually a form of anti-Semitism.
And Griff's secret cabal owning the media and banks is also a classic anti-Semitic trope.
But then the Nudge Unit finally used social media platforms, as the government found out that this was the most effective tool for controlling the population. And so the Nudge Unit has been leveraging data collected by Meta and other companies to deliver targeted nudges. For instance, they utilized Amazon's data to identify individuals who had purchased candles and matches. These individuals would then send voice messages via their Alexa devices, informing them about fire safety precautions. And whilst this is a small example, it gets so much deeper. I mean, just look at how the government influenced social media companies to ban all information about the Hunter Biden laptop story, all during the 2020 election. It was admitted by Elon Musk and even Mark Zuckerberg that government intelligence agencies, just like the Nudge Units, were trying to influence the algorithms of these social media sites for political gain.
The FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump that's similar to that, so just be vigilant.
And if this involves censoring stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story, so be it. Because the Nudge Unit has been adopted by almost all governments worldwide to control the actions and nudge the behavior of all individuals within society, striking fear into anyone who dares do anything the government doesn't like. And so it's in this moment that Truman begins to notice all of this. And as a result, Truman is now actively challenging his delusion, which is his first concrete step towards freedom. Despite Christoph's totalitarian control, he's unable to stop Truman's intuition. The draw of truth for those who catch a glimpse is incredibly strong. And this is true for the real world as well. Once you've woken up to the truth, you can never go back to sleep. and Truman will discover exactly this. Because no matter how painful his new course is, he will never deviate from always wanting the truth, even if it comes at the cost of the seemingly perfect society that he lives in. And now he's starting to see the lies that Christoph uses for what they really are. But no matter the emergency and situation that Christoph throws at him, Truman now knows it's all contrived. And with Truman's eyes opened, everything he does has one goal: seeing how far down the rabbit hole he can really go. So at home, Truman waits in his car for his wife to return from work. Upon her arrival, he draws her attention to the predictable patterns of the passerbys on the street. Her dismissive response to his observations leaves him unsatisfied, prompting him to impulsively take Meryl on an unplanned road trip. Almost immediately, a traffic jam halts their progress. Truman then feigns a return home, effectively clearing the traffic, only to pivot around and steer his way out of the suburbs and onto the open road, where they eventually reach a bridge, the final barrier between Truman and the mainland. And this is where Truman is once again confronted with this deep subconscious fear of water. It's the final hurdle to derail his escape. And yet Truman conquers his fear by shutting his eyes, compelling Meryl to guide the car as he maintains the pressure on the accelerator. Once they cross the bridge, Christoph orchestrates further hurdles to prevent Truman's departure. Truman seemingly navigates through a staged wildfire, but is then halted by a roadblock, conveniently placed due to a supposed leak at a nearby power plant. In a desperate attempt, Truman then tries to proceed on foot, but is intercepted and restrained by individuals in hazmat suits who escort him back home. The absurdity of all of these events solidifies Truman's doubts about the authenticity of his own world. And that's why once he gets back home, Truman now feels trapped, akin to a caged animal. His wife, failing to suit the situation, offers him coffee with a blatant product placement.
All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua, no artificial sweeteners.
Truman then quickly picks up on her performative behavior and directly confronts her. The actress playing Truman's wife starts to panic, quickly breaking character and using kitchen utensils to make Truman back off. And as the situation spirals into chaos, Truman's wife almost reveals her acted role.
Do something!
Asking Christoph and the team to help her out. And as the situation escalates, suddenly Truman's lifelong friend Marlon intervenes at the very last moment, whisking Truman away for a heart-to-heart conversation. But at this point, Marlon is just akin to applying a band-aid to a gaping wound. The dam has burst, and Truman's belief that the society he lives in is real is completely dead, which leads to one of the most poignant scenes in the film, when Truman is seated at the end of the pier, confiding with his best friend, the person that he seemingly trusts the most. As they reminisce about their shared past together, we see the showrunners feeding his friend lines, including a promise that he would never lie to Truman.
And the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you.
Even though he's lied to him his entire life, the entire friendship is just scripted, because Truman's friend is just another pawn in this wider system. The friend never had any real values, he never had any real beliefs, he hadn't found himself, he was simply an actor in this fake world, and all he wants is to maintain this illusion for as long as possible. But Truman doesn't, meaning their friendship can never last. And that's when the film shifts to an interview with the show's creator, during which they take calls from viewers. One of these calls is from Lauren, who accuses the creator of being a liar and a manipulator. However, he uses this as an opportunity to justify his actions, arguing that he has provided Truman with the chance to lead a normal life. He insists that if Truman truly wanted to leave, he could, but that Truman prefers his familiar surroundings. And it's this statement by Christoph that encapsulates the essence of the movie, the illusion of freedom that we live in today. We feel free when the government watches our every movement, every text and conversation. We feel protected from the badness of the world. We feel free with our new technology addiction. We can look at everything, anywhere, all the time, constantly, with all the information we've ever wanted, giving us unlimited freedom, all whilst being chained to the objects giving us this freedom. We feel that our opinions are made by ourselves, free to any opinion we like, any opinion chosen from the choices given to us by controlled TV shows, puppet social media influencers, and constantly listening technology in our pockets. We want this supposed freedom because the fear that's been instilled into us for thinking anything else is far too horrifying to accept. And this controlled illusion of freedom makes you a good citizen, a good taxpayer, a good servant, too numb to ever realize that you gave up your God-given freedom to the least among us, all for the empty freedom we slave our entire lives for. And now with the growing industry of augmented and virtual reality, we are witnessing this Truman-esque reality manifest itself today. Just recently, Apple revealed its most innovative and groundbreaking technology yet, the Apple Vision Pro, and major corporations like Disney have partnered up with Apple, firmly believing that this will be the VR headset that finally brings virtual reality to the mainstream. Disney's CEO Bob Iger has actually been quoted saying, "We believe the Apple Vision Pro is a revolutionary platform that can make our vision a reality." And so more and more, we'll soak up the more real, immersive and captivating shows like Jury Duty. We're going to be watching these shows in real life. And in addition to this, we'll be addicted more and more to the parasocial relationships being fed to us every day in the virtual world, living our entire lives through other people's stories in the virtual reality. with his new growing technological industry aiming to completely decimate the last few moments between the urge to indulge in a distraction and the subsequent dopamine reward, thrusting the digital Truman Show world of distractions directly into your eyeballs. And whether it's Apple's Vision Pro or Meta's Metaverse, this technology is expected to take over the world this decade. And so by the point that you're watching this stuff in virtual reality, you'll most likely be wired into the virtual world, as all of your friends, community, religious groups, celebrities, businesses, and shops will all be operating within it, creating an entirely new society. And it will make you feel incredible. You'll jump into this virtual society every day, go to work in this virtual society, meet friends in the virtual society, watch TV in this virtual society, party in the virtual world, and find love in this virtual society. You'll never want to leave. You can be what you want, when you want, and do what you want, repeating this cycle every single day of the week, meaning that you'll never have to use your imagination again. You'll never have to think for yourself, because all of this is done for you in the virtual reality. All the thoughts you have, all the opinions you hold that don't conform to the party line will gleefully be scrubbed from your consciousness, with all of this putting you under a massive illusion. Because only when you take off the headset and look around do you truly realize you're just another Truman Burbank, living in your control reality where nothing is real, everything is manufactured, and every person you speak to is being completely controlled, all for the benefit of a select few controllers looking down from the sky. I mean, one of the most anticipated features of the Apple Vision Pro is its extraordinary eye tracking capability. The headset will use a series of highly sophisticated cameras to use eye movements as a primary navigation tool for the entire interface. And by analyzing this data with AI to see how you perceive and view advertisements and content, Big Tech will have ever more control to predict your next desire, determining precisely how long each item they show you holds your attention for and what distracts you the most. And this will work in conjunction with the real world web, meaning that your every desire will literally be within your reach permanently, thus making your reality seem more and more perfect, all whilst being more and more controlled. Meaning the government won't ever actually need to put cameras on you 24/7 because you're already willingly choosing to do so, under the illusion of your supposed freedom. Just like the Truman Show. After this interview in the Truman Show, we see Truman return to his routine, mirroring the beginning of the movie. However, at the end of the day, Truman falls asleep in the basement and subsequently goes missing, and this is when everyone realizes he has escaped. Christoph then orders all of the actors to search for Truman, and for the first time in the show's history, interrupts the actual broadcast. But despite the collective effort of the actors scouring nearly the entire set, Truman remains elusive, driven to desperation. Christoph prematurely illuminates the set into daylight mode, and, acting on a hunch, instructs the team to scan the cameras near the harbour and on the boat. After cycling through several cameras, finally locate Truman aboard a sailboat, prompting Christoph to resume the broadcast. After a few moments of peaceful sailing, Christoph, grappling with the dilemma of risking Truman discovering the truth or ensuring Truman's safety, decides to unleash a violent storm on Truman's boat. He will not let Truman ruin the show. And despite escalating the severity of the weather, Truman remains undeterred, defiantly shouting to the sky,
Is that the best you can do? You're gonna have to kill me!
Caught in a godlike frenzy, Christoph then intensifies the storm to its maximum, much to the dismay of his crew and producer. Truman, however, perseveres, but is eventually knocked unconscious, and at the very last moment, Christoph then withdraws the weather, restoring the calm waters. Upon regaining consciousness, Truman resumes his sailing. He has conquered the storm and the sea seems to favour him. But that's when reality shifts, and the bow of Truman's boat pierces the side of the set, creating a gaping hole in the sky dome. And this is when Truman's suspicions are completely confirmed. And in a state of panic and euphoria, he starts punching the wall. His whole reality was a lie and he knew it deep down. And the full reality of Truman's situation begins to dawn on him as he spots a ramp at the end of the water. Truman then walks across this ramp, symbolically walking on water. Truman then finds a staircase and slowly ascends to the side of the set. At the top of the stairs, he then finds a door labeled exit and opens it, revealing the darkness beyond his world, the truth that lies ahead. And in a godlike voice from the sky, Christoph halts Truman's exit, revealing to Truman that he has been the star of a TV show watched by the entire world. Truman asks,
"Was nothing real?"
Christoph then responds that Truman is real, and that's what made him so captivating for millions. Christoph then attempts to dissuade Truman from leaving the set by suggesting that there is no more truth in the real world, and in Truman's little perfect world, he's free of fear and all the stresses of real life. Like a father, Christoph justifies his actions and recounts all of Truman's most intimate moments, but Truman decides that the truth is far more important than the illusion as he walks through the exit. And one of the most depressingly accurate parts of all of this is that the viewers who are addicted to watching Truman's entire life then just switch over the channel and continue in their daily boring life, mostly apathetic to everything they just witnessed. 5 seconds of dopamine, then switching to the next TV show. Just any other distraction they can find to pass the dullness of their existence. Just another swipe, another dopamine-sucking noise. Highlighting the exact process that happens with the next Jury Duty or the next Truman Show, where we watch it in the future with our virtual goggles and our own little virtual reality, constantly watching, never understanding. But what's key to understand with this entire movie is that Truman's overwhelming urge to reconnect with what is authentic, with what is genuinely experienced, is just too powerful to ignore. His desire to understand the true nature of reality is strong enough to dismantle the entire fabricated society that he's been living in. When Truman leaves the dome, he is reclaiming control, turning his back on the sterile and hollow existence that he was trapped in his entire life. And it's Truman's quest for knowledge that enabled him to conquer his fear of the water and achieve his objective of escaping the island. It was the last thing holding him back, as he doubted everything else on the set apart from his fear of the water. But once he broke through these doubts, Truman sailed out to sea. And all the while he's out to sea, Truman is longing for this all to be in his head. He wants to know that he'll reach the shore and explore the rest of the world. He hopes he's mistaken, but he still wants to uncover the actual truth. Even though this truth may destroy his life and completely change the view of the world around him, but the truth is still more important than anything. And today we find ourselves in a similar process. The increasing absurdity and madness of our society is beginning to fracture in its core. As our world, economy, and culture starts to crumble, we are witnessing the rejection of this worn-out system. We're observing new generations of younger individuals opting out of the workforce, rejecting the cultural drivel forced upon us all. And that's why now we stand at a crossroad, where we are presented with a new path. A path of metaverses, Apple Vision Pros, virtual AI reality that could lead us away from the current world. A path that leads us to a more fabricated society, a more fake, a more hollow, a more controlled reality. Alternatively, we could choose a return to what is genuinely experienced, to something more authentic. But whichever path we choose, our faith in society is disintegrating. The cracks are becoming visible in our own reality. The game is imploding. The question is, where do we go from here? Well, Plato claimed that true reality is hidden, that we are force-fed certain narratives and ideas of the world to keep us in the darkness. In his allegory of the cave, 3 men are chained inside of the cave. Behind them is a wall and a fire that illuminates the area in front of them. Back and forth, people and animals walk behind the men in front of the fire, casting shadows. The men inside the cave describe the shadows on the wall as real, passing on these ideas to one another as their culture. However, one day one of the men is able to escape and immediately leaves the cave. And it's here that he sees the sun for the first time. He sees the truth of what reality actually is. There are real, tangible animals and creatures that inhabit the world, illuminated by the much brighter light of the sun. The man experiences truth. So then he returns to the cave to try to explain what he saw and what reality really is, for those who are still chained to this false reality. But by breaking the cultural values of the cave, his connections to the old world are severed. He can never go back to the beliefs of the cave. And for Truman, this was when he didn't act according to the social norms within his TV show. And do you want to live by the social norms of your current cultural madness? Is this the life you want to live? Well, for many of us, we're starting to reject all of this. As we enter the age of Western civilization collapsing, with government control growing and people becoming more atomized, depressed, and lonely than ever, we're seeing antibodies being produced to overcome the societal disease. We're seeing more and more people rejecting the values of our twisted society. The pendulum is swinging towards individualism. The question is, will we overcome the obstacles of fear that lay on our path? Ever wondered why you have no purpose? Why none of your friends have any motivation? Why our generation has lost all passion for life? This isn't an accident. It's all part of a process called the swamping effect. You see, when the average short attention span person is flooded with a daily stream of endless information, people slide into a passively numbed mental state. And when this happens, you become easily fooled into believing anything you're told. It's why there's no soul or passion or authenticity left in our culture, and it's why our society is dying. But there is a solution to this, and many of the other problems plaguing you living in our current culture. And I'm not just talking about modern day BS solutions, I'm talking about a new form of community, a way for us to take back control of our lives. With my new newsletter, I will go deep into the real solutions and answers, the value systems of thousands of philosophers condensed into an easy to understand package to help you improve your life, all at no cost to you. And if you're interested in this, where I go into far more depth about the solutions to the problems we discuss, just click the link in the description below. We've already published multiple essays so far, and there's so many more to come in the near future. So if you're interested, sign up for free by clicking the link here.
Okay, your middle name is Macho, but I'm wondering if you ever cry. Has Macho Man ever cried?
Yeah.
Really?
It's okay for macho men to show every emotion available right there, you know, because I've cried 1,000 times, I'm gonna cry some more. But I've soared with the eagles and I've slithered with the snakes and I've been everywhere in between. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. there's one guarantee in life, and that there are no guarantees, yeah. And you gotta understand this. Yeah. Nobody likes a quitter. Nobody said life was easy, so if you get knocked down, take the standing 8 count, get back up, and fight again. And you're a macho maniac. Dig it.
Because an alchemist doesn't take their haters' energy and transmute it. That doesn't even mean anything. An alchemist takes a hater and turns them into a friend. An alchemist learns over and over again that nothing in this life is personal. An alchemist knows how to separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently and with unremitting care. An alchemist doesn't throw around cliches and aphorisms without knowing where they came from. An alchemist doesn't use a word that they don't have the literature for or understand the context or culture of. Being an alchemist isn't something you do and then move on from. It's literally a way of life, one that requires a commitment that most of us are not willing to make. Are you willing to be triggered by somebody's opinion that completely conflicts with your own and approach them with curiosity and love and openness? Do you have a genuine willingness to understand that which disagrees with you on the most fundamental level? Are you ready to accept the fact that there are always going to be parts of you that will remain undiscovered? There are parts of you you may never reach. Are you ready to be like a tree? Because I told you this a long time ago. That's all it takes. What does a tree do? It looks like it's just standing there, but a tree is always pushing against the edges of itself. A tree is always rising, no matter how subtly or how silently. She knows. The work never ends. And once you take that first step, once you genuinely peel back the veil, there's no going back. And if you're gonna open that door and not follow through, it's just gonna make your life harder. Because once you take even the slightest little glance behind the veil, it's gonna be really hard to unsee. Are you willing to see every moment and every interaction as an opportunity for you to grow?